from yesterday. So this coming Thursday night will be the first game of that best of three. It'll be on the road either at Evansville or Schaumburg. Schaumburg will host the wild card game, hosting Evansville after they host them this weekend, of course, to end the regular season. But that game will be on Tuesday night, and so if you're a Grizzlies fan, you can tune on into that ball game on FloBaseball. We are the FloBaseball free game of the week today, and so we welcome all of you tuned in on FloBaseball's social media platforms. This is the first time that we've had the game of the week come in a Grizzlies home game this year, so we like to welcome you all here to Sauget, to the St. Louis Metro East. The Illinois side of the Mississippi River is where we are. And let's take a look at the playoff picture, because everything is sewn up in the West Division. That we do know. As Schaumburg clinched home field advantage in the wild card game last night with a win over Florence, and of course Evansville clinched their playoff spot with the 6-0 win here at Grizzlies Ballpark last night. But in the East Division, nothing is known. As we take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard first from last night before we get into the standings, because there's a lot to get through. We'll start in the West, because Schaumburg took an early lead and then got a tie-breaking run in the top of the fourth. Scored 4 runs late as well over the Florence Yalls, and they came back for a 7-4 victory. And for Schaumburg, finally getting a victory over the Yalls, avoiding being swept in northern Kentucky there. That was a win that they really needed.
Yeah, and it was Brian McKenna making the big mistake in the later innings. The bullpen was doing their job heading into the later part of that game with the Yalls up. But it was a 4-run nightmare inning that kind of flipped the script for the Boomers. They would add one more on by an Alec Craig triple to cap off his 3-for-3 night. And Schaumburg avoids that sweep there, 7-4 in Florence.
Craig got on base 5 times, by the way, and went 3-for-3 with 2 RBIs. Washington did defeat the Joliet Slammers, and they swept that series by a final score of 3-2. However, because Evansville won, they were eliminated from playoff contention, and that locked up everything in the West. Also in the West Division last night, these Lake Erie Crushers were at Windy City. And talk about late drama. Lake Erie had a 2-0 lead going to the bottom of the 9th, and then Windy City had other plans as they came back and tied the score.
Yeah, it was a constant back and forth in those later innings with the international base runner kind of as a bonus for Micah Yonamine. He would tie up the game in those later innings and then picked up in the 10th. It would be tied at 4 coming into sudden death, and Windy City choosing to pitch with Tyler Laporte. That risky move paid off as he set down all 3 and walked it off, so to speak. Defensively, Windy City breaks out the brooms there with the late dramatics, 5-4, as Lake Erie comes into Sauget on a 3-game losing streak.
It was Yonamine who singled home 2 runs to tie the game in the 9th, and then after Scout Knotts had a 2 RBI hit that put Lake Erie up once again 4-2. Junior Martina tied the game with a home run in the bottom of the 10th. And so it was a late night for the Crushers, a late bus ride after that tough loss in extra innings in the sudden death scenario. Out east, Trois-Rivières was at Ottawa. That's the one game that did not have any bearing on the playoff picture, which is very complicated, and even more so now following a ruling from the league today about New York and Quebec. That'll be the last score we get to, but Trois-Rivières took care of the Titans by a score of 6-1. They had 14 total hits in that contest, 3 of which by Nate Scantlin and Malik Williams in the top third of their order. The Empire State Grays also defeated New Jersey. They're playing those games at Skyland Stadium now, the Jackals are, if they are at home. And a 3-spot for the Grays in the top of the third was able to get them that win. And so if Quebec beat New York, they would take over first place in the East Division. But before we get to them, how about Sussex County? A come-from-behind victory over Tri-City. They sweep the series in Troy, New York, and they're right in the thick of the playoff picture despite being pretty far back as of just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, pretty clean-cut game here, some back and forth with Sussex County preparing to make one of the best late playoff pushes we've seen. Tri-City wasn't trying to get swept at home, though. They would take command in the first 2/3 of this game, getting up 2-0 after 6. It was John Vargas doing his best to kind of stay positive in that narrow shutout, but much like Colin Sullivan last night here in Sauget, the errors gave their opponents the opportunity to tie it up in the 7th. Vargas would be pulled that inning. The Valley Cats still kicking on with Altair and Smith solo home runs in the 8th, giving Paven Parks, the third baseman / pitcher, the save opportunity. He would blow it, only recording 1 out, walking 3 and giving up 3 hits. And one of them was the game-tying 2 RBI single to Juan Santana. He had a 3-hit night. A go-ahead was Jason Agresti, and that was a single there. Robbie Hitt, who blew the no-hitter the night prior, redeemed himself by getting him the save, locking down the 5-4 sweep in Tri-City.
And that got the Miners to within 1 game of a playoff spot. But now we get to New York and Quebec. The Capitals won it with a 3-run bottom of the 8th, 4-2. And they took over first place in the East last night while knocking New York back. They're a half game back of Tri-City entering today, this morning. But there was a rule handed down from the league. Last night, the Capitals used Greg Bird at first base, and one of the rules in the Frontier League, because the Capitals signed Bird as a injury replacement for one of their outfielders who was out for the year with that injury after the roster deadline earlier this month, one of the rules stipulates that you have to replace a position for position. So if an outfielder gets hurt, you have to replace them with an outfielder. But further than that, you can't also then say he's an outfielder and then play him in the infield, which is exactly what Quebec did. Inadvertently so, according to the league, but it's still a rule that had to be enforced. And because Quebec used Greg Bird in an improper way, they have to forfeit that win over the New York Boulders. And that was already a hugely close, tight-knit playoff picture in the East Division. It just got a wrench thrown into it with that forfeit for Quebec. They are now behind New Jersey in the East Division, chasing them for the division title. And not only that, but New York gets an extra victory as they also try to make a late push for the playoffs.
Yeah, they get thrown a bone there, and it was those later innings where the Capitals would come back, and that is now, as we know, for naught. More importantly, this puts the Valley Cats in jeopardy as well. With their playoff standings right now. They're just clinging on right now for dear life.
Here are the updated standings, the up-to-the-moment standings in the East. New Jersey has a win today because they resumed a suspended game from earlier this season that was actually started at home at Hinchliffe Stadium. They are finishing up in New York, and they emerged victorious 3-2 in 7 innings. They're going to be playing another 7-inning game. It's actually already underway. In the top of the second, there is no score between the Jackals and the Boulders. Quebec is hosting Ottawa to end the season. They have a 1-0 lead on the Titans as they now look to pick themselves up and try for the East Division title despite that forfeit. Tri-City is at Trois-Rivières, and after an early lead for the Valley Cats, Trois-Rivières, who's motivated to take them down anyway, despite the fact that they're not going to be a playoff team. They're now tied at 3 in the top of the second. The Sussex County Miners, the Red Hot Miners, they have the luxury of hosting the Grays at Skyland Stadium to finish out the regular season. They have a 2-0 lead in the top of the third. We'll get to the rest of the scores around the league as we go along tonight. We'll keep you up to date on that East Division race. It is the one division that has all the drama on the regular season's final weekend. Lineups being exchanged by the two managers. And we will get you those lineups when we return here as we lead you up to first pitch between the Gateway Grizzlies and the Lake Erie Crushers here from Sauget on the Budweiser pregame show. This is the Grizzlies Media Network. Back at Grizzlies Ballpark, and his Military Appreciation Night. The Gateway Grizzlies wearing some Air Force-inspired uniforms, black with white letters and numbers and blue trim. Boy, do these look great. I think they're the top looking promotional jerseys the Grizzlies have worn this season. It's Jason Garrett and Joey Miller with you here on the Budweiser pregame show. Whenever legendary baseball moments happen, Budweiser will be there. This Bud's for you. Quick look at the pitching matchup. Joey Gonzalez has struggled overall in his last few weeks as he struggled mightily on Saturday at Schaumburg. He allowed 6 hits, 5 runs, 3 of which were earned with 5 walks and only 1 strikeout. He got a no decision in that ball game as the Grizzlies eventually came back despite all the walks and also despite 5 defensive errors in that game. It was the one game they beat Schaumburg in last weekend. August 20th at Lake Erie, Gonzalez struck out 7, allowed just 3 hits and 2 runs. But his last 4 games, an 8.38 ERA and 19 1/3 innings, 17 walks. He's got to cut down on those to be successful tonight.
Yeah, and I was just going to mention that the walks need to really be eliminated from his viewpoint right now, especially from the box score today. You know, he's got the stuff, and he could most definitely bounce back and gain some confidence on this Lake Erie lineup with this great arsenal. But it just comes down to the run support, and he has had that before. So he's seen these guys recently. We'll see how he faces against them today.
Former Grizzly Matt Mulhern has also struggled his last 2 starts, one of which was actually against Gateway. Last time out, 10 hits and 5 runs, 3 earned over 6 innings, and a loss on Saturday against Washington at home. Grizzlies got to him for 8 runs and 8 hits over 5 innings to deal him a loss. Last year, coincidentally, also on the final weekend of the regular season, Mulhern started against the Grizzlies on the greatest night in baseball, and he took the loss in that contest as Gateway got to him for 4 runs on 7 hits and 5 innings, although Mulhern did strike out 8 in that game. Let's get you the full starting lineups, which are brought to you by Commerce Bank. And for the Lake Erie Crushers, their manager, Jared Lemieux, will start Todd Isaacs Jr. in the leadoff spot in DHing. Jack Harris, the former Grizzly, back here at Grizzlies Ballpark for the first time in a visiting uniform, plays center field and hits second. Scout Knotts is the left fielder batting third. Josh Rago is at first base, and he will be batting cleanup. Hector Roa, the veteran right fielder, bats fifth. Jared Watkins is an all-star shortstop batting in the 6th hole. Kenan Irizarry is at third base batting in the 7th spot. Another former Grizzly making his return in a visiting uniform to Grizzlies Ballpark is Jackson Pritchard. He's doing the catching, and he is batting 8th. Sam Frontino, the second baseman, hits 9th, and the former Grizzly Matt Mulhern is on the bump for Lake Erie. For the Gateway Grizzlies, they are still without Jairus Richards and still without Eric Rivera. Both are improving, but they are not yet set to get back on the field. Of course, with Gateway having a few off days next week before the division series, they should be back at the very least for the playoffs. And therefore, it's Mark Vierling leading off and playing shortstop. Andrew Penner, the all-star second baseman, will hit second. Peter Zimmerman is the designated hitter batting third. Clint Freeman is behind him in the cleanup spot playing first base. DJ Stewart back at his natural third base position batting in the 5 hole. Kyle Goodell is the left fielder batting 6th. Willie Estrada is catching tonight and hitting 7th. Alex Hernandez is the man out of position tonight. He's playing right field for the first time since he was a 10-year-old, and he is batting 8th. Cole Brannon is the center fielder batting 9th. And Joey Gonzalez, the starting pitcher, on the mound tonight for the Gateway Grizzlies. Tonight's lineups, once again, are brought to you by Commerce Bank. Challenge accepted. Well, again, there's no drama left in the West Division, Joey. There's nothing really to play for between these two clubs, as Lake Erie, as we mentioned, is just kind of playing out the string. But they're motivated to play well down the stretch. And for Gateway, again, we mentioned the defensive woes that they've had. They certainly want to be sharp on that side of the ball this weekend. And they just want to kind of be able to feel good about themselves going into those off days before learning who they will play out of the wild card game on Tuesday, next Thursday, when the division series begins.
Yeah, last night's loss, much like this series, like you mentioned, really doesn't mean much other than just staying healthy before the playoffs next week. But in a series for the best in the West versus the bottom of said West, it's going to be important to maintain an image and try and get a sweep knocked out if they can, if not for themselves, for the fans here at the ballpark.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of good fans support here this weekend. The greatest night in baseball, of course, is coming up on Sunday, and if you are not familiar with the regular season finale here at Grizzlies Ballpark on an annual basis, it is always extremely well attended. There are giveaways for every single out of the ball game, and not only that, but this is a gorgeous ballpark, but we get to throw some toilet tissue over everything and TP the ballpark after the final out is made on Sunday. It's a tradition going back a long, long time here for the Gateway Grizzlies. Last year, in fact, they defeated the Lake Erie Crushers and beat Matt Mulhern, tonight's starter, on the greatest night in baseball. And the Grizzlies last year were not a playoff team. They were 2 games under 500 despite making a pretty good late surge. This year, of course, they're the West Division champions for the first time in over a decade. And something to feel good about this year for the Gateway Grizzlies. What they really want to do is, again, get healthy, first of all, and play some good fundamental baseball, some good solid baseball, and avoid those mistakes that have plagued them the last couple weeks.
Yeah, they're just holding down the fort here until the playoffs and just trying to get their bats hot again. You know, it's like I said, a meaningless series in terms of the playoffs, but right now they just need to reinvigorate themselves right now after last night.
Gateway takes the field in those aforementioned black uniforms. They are Air Force inspired, so they've got the Air Force blue trim as well with the white letters and numbers, white pants. You add the blue caps in. It's a very clean look for Gateway here on Military Appreciation Nights. We'll step aside for the national anthem, and when we return, it is the first pitch of the ball game, first pitch of the final weekend of the regular season before postseason play begins next week in the Frontier League. Gateway Grizzlies hosting the Lake Erie Crushers. We'll be back with the action and the play-by-play next on the Grizzlies Media Network. We're back here at Grizzlies Ballpark. It's a beautiful Friday night for baseball, and the Gateway Grizzlies looking to take down the Lake Erie Crushers in a matchup of the first place team in the West, the West Division champion Grizzlies, and the last place team in the West in the Lake Erie Crushers. Joey Gonzalez is on the bump tonight, and the right-handed starter with a 10-7 record in 18 starts took his first no decision of the entire year his last time on the mound, in fact, for Gateway at Schaumburg. A 5.29 ERA for Gonzalez, 97 innings, 109 hits allowed, 65 runs, 57 earned with 48 walks and 88 strikeouts. Batters hitting .288 with power off of Gonzalez. The walks have really bitten him hard. The last 4 starts, he has walked 3 or more in 4 straight, including 5 walks against just 1 strikeout his last time on the mound on August 26th against the Schaumburg Boomers. Grizzlies eventually came back and won that game by a score of 7-6. And Gonzalez, who struggled early and gave up the early lead there, got a no decision in that game. Gateway again here on Military Appreciation Night. They are dressed in Air Force-inspired black uniforms with white letters and numbers and royal blue trim. The dark blue caps and white pants as usual here at home. The Lake Erie Crushers, meanwhile, they will don their road purple uniforms with the white letters and numbers Lake Erie straight across the chest and white trim as well, with gray pants and purple caps with the Angry Grape on the front. Well, again, this matchup here in the Frontier League West Division is all about, for Gateway, feeling good about themselves going into the playoffs. For Lake Erie, it's about finishing the season strong. It has been a very rough year up in Avon, Ohio. That has included a 1-5 record this year against the Gateway Grizzlies, who really did take care of business the couple of times they had to travel to the Cleveland area. It will be Todd Isaacs, Jack Harris, and Scout Knotts, all of whom are right-handed, to take their hacks in the first against Joey Gonzalez. And we thank you once again for tuning in to Gateway Grizzlies Baseball on the Grizzlies Media Network. Also on FloBaseball, we are the game of the week tonight, and so we are free to tune into on all of FloBaseball's social media channels. I've got a monitor of sorts on the Twitter page here. So, again, we thank you for tuning in. Here is the first pitch of the ball game. It is a strike at the knees to Todd Isaacs, and we are underway at 6:54 Central Time. Count is 0-1. 273 hitter is Isaacs with 3 home runs and 16 runs batted in. The wind and the deal by Gonzalez. Ground ball left side, and that's a base hit through the left side into left. And Isaacs aboard with a leadoff single. Balls and strikes are being called by Chris Dykman this evening. Preston Childers down the first baseline. He was also here this week against Evansville. And Trevor Klosterman is down at third. For Gateway defensively, left to right in the outfield, Goodell, Brannon, and Hernandez tonight. Hernandez, the normal starting catcher, playing out of position, as the Grizzlies are without Eric Rivera and Jarris Richards for the second game in a row. We'll give you the infield defense after the first pitch to the former Grizzly, Jack Harris. He goes after it, grounds it to short. Could be 2 if they hurry. Vierling to second 1, and dropping the ball in the transfer is Penner at second base. The out recorded at second on a fielder's choice. Harris, who is hitting .263 with 9 homers and 44 RBIs, will reach behind the out. And that's the first out of the ball game. A Grizzly fan in our chat says they're having trouble streaming the game for free. Suggestions, you have to go to either the FloBaseball Facebook page or the Twitter page, or X as they call it now, and that is where you can find this game tonight. In fact, I've gone to X and I'm looking at it right now, so I know it's working. Pitch is inside on Scout Knotts, and the count is 1-0. He is hitting .326 with 2 home runs and 13 RBIs here in the second half with Lake Erie. Gonzalez from the stretch deals the 1-0. It's a foul tip off of the catcher, and the count 1-1. Stewart, Vierling, Penner, and Freeman, a regular infield defense tonight, third to first, and doing the catching, Willie Estrada. We have 1 away, just underway here in the top of the first, and no score. Harris has pretty good speed. He takes a lead at first, 15 out of 17 on the bases this year. 1-1 pitch is inside, and that one hit Knotts. Actually, that's not. Is he wearing a different uniform? I think he must be, because 25 on the roster is Colin Matthews. But that looks like Scout Knotts. He's a pretty big dude. Unless we're mistaken and we were given a wrong lineup.
Well, we saw the lineup, and Matthews was on the bench. So maybe there was just a wardrobe malfunction.
Maybe there was a late change. Josh Rago is definitely at the plate, and he takes a breaking ball for a called strike one. Rago hitting .250 with 5 homers and 31 RBIs. Is that a 34 sitting on the bench over there? So once again, the lineup was changed, and we were not aware of it. We apologize, folks. Not our fault. 0-1 pitch. Rago swings, fouls it back, and the count is 0-2. It's not Scout Knotts. It is Colin Matthews batting third for Lake Erie. That's the second time this week that the lineup's been changed for somebody, either the Grizzlies or the opposing team, and we've not been notified. First and second with only one out here in the first. And the pitch by Gonzalez, fastball fouled away by Rago. Once again, he is behind still at 0-2.
We're going to have to see, but we assume that he'll be playing the left field that Knotts was originally scheduled to
Well,
play.
he is listed as an outfielder, so I would assume that is indeed the case. Gonzalez gets his sign, trying to work around a jam here in the first. 0-2. Again, fouled away, this time down the line further by Rago, and he stays alive. For Gonzalez, generally speaking, early parts of ball games have given him a lot of trouble. Once he gets through right about the first 4 innings, then he can settle in. But the first inning especially, his ERA is 8 this year in the first. Righty versus righty matchup here. And here comes the 0-2 again. Curveball down and away there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Runner at second is Harris. Runner at first is Matthews. Gonzalez once again has his sign. As the 1-2 pitch comes plateward, it's a curveball on the inside corner. He struck him out looking. And there is the second out of the ball game. Big strikeout there for Gonzalez. All Grizzlies strikeouts are brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Know what's below before you dig. Always call Julie at 811 or visit IllinoisOneCall.com. That'll bring up the veteran Hector Roa. He has had a heck of a career in the Frontier League and a heck of a career here in Sauget. A lot of big games here with the Washington Wild Things in the past. He's hitting .225 as a member of Lake Erie, a homer and 11 RBIs, and Gonzalez deals a firm fastball right on the outside corner for strike one. Roa spent 5 years in a Wild Things uniform, and he was the all-time club leader in a lot of different categories, notably home runs, and I believe RBIs as well. It'll be an 0-1 to Roa, and Gonzalez fires another fastball. That misses just outside and a little high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Roa from Camden, New Jersey, originally from the Dominican Republic. He's also played an affiliated ball with the Astros, as Gonzalez has as well. 1-1 pitch is a slider that misses low. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Well, we know Grizzlies ballpark is a hitter-friendly ballpark, especially when it comes to the long ball. And the Lake Erie Crushers have just not hit many balls out of the yard this year. No batter on the roster has hit over 10 home runs this year. They have 58 as a team.
That is in large part because of a place they call home. Broken bat pop-up on the infield towards second. This should end the inning as Penner comes in and makes the easy catch to retire the side. So, some traffic on the bases for Joey Gonzalez opening up the ball game, but he gets a 0 up on the board, no runs, 1 hit, and 2 runners left on for Lake Erie. We head to the bottom of the first, and Gateway comes to bat against the former Grizzly Matt Mulhern on the Grizzlies Media Network. Former Grizzly Matt Mulhern making his return to Grizzlies ballpark for the second time in a visiting uniform. He also pitched last year in the regular season finale here in Sauget. And on the season this year, 17 starts with a 5-6 record and an ERA of 4.12. 91 and 2/3 innings, 94 hits, 54 runs, only 42 of which are earned. 35 walks and 49 strikeouts, batters hitting .266 off of Mulhern. The defense has not really helped him out behind him, but we'll give you that defense in a second. It contains a couple of other former Grizzlies making their returns to Sauget as Mark Vierling steps in and takes a fastball inside. 1-0. Vierling hitting .272, 2 homers and 30 RBIs in his rookie season as he swings and fouls one off to the right, high in the air and out of play. Left to right in the outfield it is Matthews, Harris, and Roa. Harris, a former Grizzly as well. And Irizarry, Watkins, Frontino, and Rago around the infield, third to first. Jackson Pritchard makes it an all-former Grizzly battery as he is catching Matt Mulhern, who deals a breaking ball in the outside corner for a called strike. Well, you hear some of the cheers. The entire Webster University baseball team, I think, is here. They are seated on the third base side behind their home dugout when they play their home games here at Grizzlies ballpark. Pitch is down and away, and the count is 2-2. Mulhern did pitch at Webster, so he is very familiar with pitching in this hitter-friendly confines. Mulhern deals a pitch on the hands and fouled back by Vierling. He stays alive at 2-2. Penner and Zimmerman to follow here in the bottom of the first, no score. And we thank you for tuning in wherever you may be tuned in, either on the Grizzlies Media Network or on the FloBaseball Game of the Week. Mulhern's 2-2 again is another fastball. It's swung on and fouled away down the right field line, high in the air and toward the concourse, out of play.
I wonder if Mulhern, coming back to his college ballpark, tries to look for things that have changed since the last time he's been here. Maybe puts a piece of gum on his locker to mark it or something.
Well, one of the things that's notable that has changed is the height of the net. There's a fastball just outside, and Pritchard tried to frame it there. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The net was much lower and less expansive down the lines when Mulhern pitched here 2 years ago. 3-2 to Vierling, a rocket to shortstop caught by Watkins. And there's out number 1. Another hard hit ball by Vierling. Despite struggling defensively over the last couple weeks, his bat has been healthy. And that'll bring up Andrew Penner. Speaking of healthy bats, a 14-game hitting streak coming into tonight's action. A .335 average for the All-Star with 6 home runs and 56 runs batted in. First pitch is a little high and in there on a fastball again by Mulhern. He looks to establish that first fastball in the early parts of games. 1-0 is the breaking ball, a check swing, and he did not go around. 2 balls and no strikes. Of course, I saw Mulhern pitch in a Grizzlies uniform from 2021 to 2022, was traded to Lake Erie the middle of last year. 2-0 fastball, that's at the knees for a called strike. And 2-1 on Penner. Of course, Penner was a former teammate of his, therefore, last year. They exchanged some hellos on the field before the game. 2-1 slider down and away, and a count now 3 balls and a strike. No score, bottom of the first. A beautiful Friday night. Long shadows being cast from the first base side of the stadium as Mulhern locates his fastball there on 3-1 well. Full count here. The lights are on. And we've got a great crowd in the house on this Friday. Here comes the 3-2. It's a swing and a miss. Strike 3. A little bit late on that one was Penner. And 2 up and 2 down for Mulhern here in the bottom of the first. Brings up Peter Zimmerman. Zimmerman hitting .363, 21 home runs, 83 RBIs. He's been on base in 40 straight games he's played in. Made his return to the starting lineup last night after missing a whole bunch of time with a concussion. Pitch is low, and the count is 1-0. He made his return actually with a pinch hit appearance in Game 2 of the doubleheader on Wednesday. Got a single in sudden death as the Grizzlies walked off Evansville and won the West Division. Another fastball up and in makes it 2-0. So great to have Zimmerman back in the lineup. Have that presence right in the middle part of the order as the breaking ball drops in for a called strike one.
And he's adjusted quite quickly as well, the talented hitter that he is.
Righty versus righty, the 2-1, ground ball to shortstop. Rolling into the glove of Watkins. He sets and throws down to first in time to retire the side. It's a 1-2-3 bottom of the first for Gateway at the plates. And we go to the top of the second, still in a scoreless ball game. Gateway versus Lake Erie on the Grizzlies Media Network. Gateway and Lake Erie scoreless going to the top of inning number 2 on the FloBaseball game of the week. And on the Grizzlies Media Network, Joey Gonzalez will look to have a less stressful second inning than he had a first, facing Watkins, Irizarry, and Jackson Pritchard. First game of the final series of the regular season for both of these teams. For Lake Erie, their season will end after Sunday's matchup. For Gateway, they will await the winner of the wild card game to take on in a best-of-3 division series beginning on the road on Thursday night. They'll be coming back home for the remainder of that series next weekend. First pitch to Jared Watkins, who loves hitting here in Sauget. The pitch is up and away. A count is 1-0. 225 hitter for the year with 3 home runs and 25 RBIs. He's got a contact swing, and he can pull the baseball with authority in the air, which, of course, with the short porch and right, makes it a ballpark he likes to hit in. The 1-0 is just outside there. 2 balls and no strikes. Elsewhere in the Frontier League, though, the East Division playoff picture is quite something. 3 teams fighting for the final spot, and then Quebec and New Jersey fighting it out for the East Division title. There's a swing and a line drive to deep center, but backing up is Brennan in his sights. He makes the catch. 1 up and 1 down for Gonzalez. The leadoff batter getting retired is always big for him. As Kenan Irizarry, another left-handed swinger, will step up, hitting .239 with 4 homers and 23 RBIs.
And speaking of the playoff picture in the East, the Capitals are down to the Titans 2-1 in the bottom of the 4th. That'll be an interesting game there.
And they also had to forfeit a game earlier today as that pitch is at the knees for a called strike from Gonzalez. In their win over New York last night, they used Greg Bird in an ineligible way. He played the infield when he's supposed to be only playing the outfield as an injury replacement past the roster deadline. 0-1 is fouled back as the bat goes flying toward the Gateway dugout area. And Irizarry will probably grab the sticky stuff and try to hold on to the bat next time. Count is 0-2 on him. But that's a huge forfeit for both teams because New York gets a win. That aids their pursuit of the final playoff spot. And Quebec, taking that loss, fell behind New Jersey in the division. New Jersey completing a suspended game from July 17th and beating the Boulders in 7 innings, 3-2. They're in the bottom of the 3rd of the second game of that doubleheader and scoreless in Clover Stadium. But as Joey mentioned, Ottawa in the bottom of the 4th leads at Quebec 2-1.
And by the time you said that, they actually just tied it up.
Pitch is down and away off speed there, 1-2. Meanwhile, the Sussex County Miners, who I think might have the cleanest road toward a playoff berth of those three teams fighting for that one spot, hosting the Grays this weekend. They have a 2-1 lead in the fifth at Skyland Stadium. 1-2 pitch is down and in, maybe the cutter there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tri-City and Trois-Rivières are tied at 4 apiece in the top of the fourth. The Valley Cats are trying to ward off a hard charge by the Miners, who just swept them at home this past week. Here we have no score in the second. The 2-2 pitch to Irizarry is lifted in the air to shallow right, and Hernandez comes on in and makes a backhand catch off his shoe tops. That's a catcher, folks. Gateway's without 2 outfielders tonight, and Hernandez is playing right field for the first time since he was in 10U ball. That's a pretty fine grab.
Yeah, just had to run in and make that grab. Track the ball down well. Nice play.
Here's Jackson Pritchard, the former Grizzly, first at bat back here at Grizzlies ballpark in a visiting uniform, and he takes full advantage by lining a base hit out to left. Well, back to Hernandez a little bit. Of course, as a catcher, you got to be good at catching the ball.
It's in the name. It's in the job description. It's in the title.
If you're not a good catcher, you can't be a catcher.
It is about 99% of the job.
It really isn't. It's more like 75% of the job. There's so much more to being a catcher than just catching the ball.
True.
Here's Sam Frontino, the first plate appearance for the second baseman for Lake Erie. He takes a called strike outside edge. Frontino, known more for his defense than his offense, hitting 122 with 7 RBIs. And he's also a part-time pitcher for Lake Erie. Pritchard leads at first, held on by his former teammate Freeman. Breaking ball drops in for his called strike 2, as Gonzalez looks for a scoreless second. Gonzalez from the stretch on the first base side, looking in, gets a sign from Estrada. And now an 0-2 pitch. Fastball is fouled away into the screen above the Gateway dugout. And we'll do it again at 0-2. Trevor Kunsel, a relief pitcher for Lake Erie, who's coaching at first, goes to retrieve it. Tossing it down to the Gateway bullpen. Jared Lemieux, the third base coach, is also Lake Erie's manager in his first season with the club. Righty versus righty with 1 on and 2 out. The 0-2 is swung on and missed. A high fastball there, and Gonzalez picks up his second strikeout. All Grizzly strikeouts brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Play it safe this season. Call Julie before you dig. Simply dial 811. It's smart, it's free, and it's the law. No runs on a hit with 1 left on for Lake Erie this time. We go to the bottom of the second. No score here on the Grizzlies Media Network. Matt Mulhern back to work, and the right-hander will face Freeman, Stewart, and Goodell, the heart of the order for Gateway. In a scoreless ball game, we're here in the bottom of the second inning on a Friday night. Freeman hitting .251, 11 home runs and 52 RBIs. Batting from the left-hand side against his ex-teammate. Pitches outside from Mulhern, 1-0. Mulhern, not only a former Grizzly, but he played all of his college career at Webster University, who plays their home games here at Grizzlies Ballpark in the spring. Pitches low again, and the count is 2 balls and no strikes. And for Mulhern, he is Webster's career leader in innings pitched, wins, appearances, and strikeouts. I think it's safe to say he's the best pitcher they've ever had. Pitches low, and the count now 3-0 on Freeman. Set a conference record as well for career wins, and second in the conference's history, the SLIAC in career Ks. 3-0 pitch, tails outside. That's a leadoff 4-pitch walk drawn by Freeman. And the Grizzlies get their first base runner of the night, brings up DJ Stewart.
Always nice to have a leadoff walk there. He got aboard twice last night. A hit and a fielder's choice.
Only once, therefore, safely. Stewart, the right-handed hitter who has power, 12 homers, 73 RBIs, a .308 average, back at his third base position tonight. After he played right field for Richards yesterday, there's an off-speed pitch swung over and missed. 0-1. Well, for Mulhern, he was the National Pitcher of the Year in Division III his senior season, actually his graduate year in 2021. Then he signed with Gateway. 0-1 pitch. Fastball, check, swing, tapper back to the mound. Mulhern fields, fires to second, one, turn to first is not in time. So a fielder's choice there replaces Freeman with Stewart and brings up Kyle Goodell with a man at first and one out. I believe that's a 1-4 put out. Frontino was covering the bag. That'll bring up Goodell, who's hitting .279 after going 0 for 4 last night with a couple strikeouts, 9 homers though and 30 RBIs. Fastball is in on the right-handed hitter, 1-0. Mulhern's numbers, by the way, when he was the National Perfect Game and D3Baseball.com Pitcher of the Year. And a first-team All-American by pretty much everybody else who follows that level, as the breaking ball is low, 2 balls and no strikes on Goodell. How about these numbers, Joey? 13 starts, 12-1 with a 0.90 ERA and 137 strikeouts in 100 innings.
Yeah, that'll do it.
The 2-0 pitch. Fastball turned on, hit in the air down the left field line, giving chases Matthews. He will catch up and make the grab. 4 out, number 2. So on the F7 there, Willie Estrada will bat with still a man at first and 2 outs. No score, bottom of the second. Did I mention that Mulhern, with the 137 strikeouts, only walked 10 batters that year?
That is impressive. And he's already walked 1 tonight.
I mean, that's essentially 1 walk every start.
That's golden right there.
Well, you know how you can't walk people here at Grizzlies Ballpark. He didn't. There's a swing and a fly ball hit in the air to shallow right. Backing up Frontino, in comes Roa, and Roa will make the two-handed catch to retire the side as Estrada is down on the first pitch there. Leadoff walk, but Gateway can't do much with it. As we go to the top of the third, still scoreless here on the Grizzlies Media Network. Top of the third at Grizzlies ballpark, no score, as Lake Erie and Gateway hook up for the final time of 3 series this year. First time here in Sauget. Gateway went 5-1 against the Crushers in Avon, Ohio, sweeping them in their first series. That was way back in the end of May. And then they took 2 out of 3 the last time they were there, but outscored Lake Erie in that series 22-4. One of their losses was 2-1, and then the other 2 games were blowouts. It will be, for the Crushers, Isaacs, Harris, and Matthews, the top third of their order against Joey Gonzalez, who has a couple strikeouts so far on the night. Isaacs singled to left his first time up. Gonzalez fires home, and the fastball is low, ball 1.
It's been a good steady pace for Joey Gonzalez through these first 2. As we mentioned before, he has struggled in these first 3 innings, so this will be a big inning to get through as well.
The 1-0 pitch. There's a swing and a miss, kept the pitch inside and right near the hands of Isaacs. Count now 1-1. Isaacs was a New Jersey Jackal last year. He came over to Lake Erie with his manager, who was a coach on Brooks Carey's staff. Breaking ball, a big curveball, and a big rip and a miss by Isaacs there as he tried to time it up, 1-2.
When that curveball works, it really works. And it is one of Gonzalez's best pitches.
Isaacs played 2 years with New Jersey, was a tremendous player last year, although he was plagued by some injuries, only played in 50 games. Now the 1-2 by Gonzalez. Another breaking ball sent the other way, and that's a base hit into right by Isaacs. This time he waits back on the breaking ball and gets himself another leadoff single. The numbers for Isaacs last year, just to finish up the point I was making: 327, 9 homers, 34 RBIs, 22 stolen bases in only the 50 games. And this year he's also been bit by the injury bug a little bit. Jack Harris replaced him on a fielder's choice, swinging at the first pitch. There he swings at the first pitch again, breaking ball, and it's a line drive into left center field for a base hit. Brandon can't cut it off in the gap. Isaacs will be held at third base, as sliding in with a double is Harris. So back-to-back early action at-bats once again for the top of the Crushers' order, and up comes Colin Matthews with a chance to drive in the game's first run. For Matthews, he was hit by a pitch on the arm his first time up. Gateway will play their infield at regular depth. He'll trade a run for an out, particularly this early in the ballgame. And righty on righty, Gonzalez delivers. It's a fastball missing just inside, 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, he's wanting to make his pitches hit the strike zone. As you could tell there, he was not really happy about that spot. But he's trying to also avoid hits, and he has started off this inning doing the opposite of that.
4 hits now for the Crushers in the game, as there's a cutter missing below the knees, 2 balls and no strikes. Colin Matthews, a rookie from Kent State, played his whole college career with the Golden Flashes in his home state of Ohio, first team All-MAC with 1A this past spring. 2-0 pitch is lined towards shortstop, and it's caught by Vierling. He got the fastball in on the hands there, and a soft liner for the first out, no advance. And that's exactly what Gonzalez needed there. 1 away, and now he'll deal with Josh Rago, who struck out looking his first time up. Rago, also a rookie, and he's out of Westmont College, Division II school in his home state of California. Right-hander brings home the first one. Swing and a miss, high fastball, 0-1. Rago does have some pop. 10 home runs in 57 games his final year in college. He's got 5 home runs with Lake Erie, which might not seem like a lot, but again, they play in a ballpark that suppresses balls in the air. 0-1, another high fastball, and another swing and a miss by Rego. It's 0-2. Mercy Health Stadium often has the wind blowing in, straight off of Lake Erie. So anything in the air is knocked down, generally speaking. Great place to pitch, though. Really tough place to hit. It'll be an 0-2 to Rego. Runners lead at second and third for Lake Erie. There's a breaking ball. It is chopped foul at home plate. Into the turf, rolling into fair territory. But it hit Rego's leg, I believe, and so the count remains 0-2. Jason Garrett, Joey Miller with you here on the Grizzlies Media Network and FloBaseball. We're the free game of the week tonight. So we welcome those of you who might not otherwise have a subscription to tune in on the video feed. Gonzalez has his sign from Estrada. And the 0-2. Wave and a miss on another great breaking ball by Gonzalez. He's thrown quite a few of those tonight. And he strikes out Rego for the second time. And there's out number 2 after the leadoff single and double. All Grizzlies strikeouts brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Safe digging is no accident. Before you dig, call 811 or go to IllinoisOneCall.com. That's Illinois, the number 1call.com. It's up to Hector Roa here, who broke his bat and popped up to second his first time up. First pitch. Breaking ball, swung on and missed, strike one. Well, you talked earlier in the pregame show, Joey, about Gonzalez's great stuff. And so far in this inning, the stuff has been evident since those two runners got on.
Well, he's got one of the best arsenals on this roster for sure. 5 pitches.
0-1 fastball fouled into the top of the screen, and now 0-2 the count on Roa. 1 strike away from getting out of second and third, and no one out is Joey Gonzalez. He's got 5 different pitches, 2 different breaking balls, a cutter, and a 4-seam fastball, along with a changeup that he doesn't use often. But it's still there. It'll be an 0-2 to Roa. Gonzalez delivers. It's a chopper in front of the plate, should stay fair. Gonzalez picks it up off the mound. His throw is high, but tiptoeing on the base while reaching up to glove the baseball is Clint Freeman. And Gonzalez pulls a rabbit out of his hat and gets out of second and third, and no one out. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left on for Lake Erie. They've now left 5 men on in 3 innings, and that has kept the game scoreless. We'll be back after this on the Grizzlies Media Network. Alex Hernandez, Cole Brennan, and Mark Vierling due up for Gateway as they take on the Lake Erie Crushers tonight, first of a 3-game series. And for the Grizzlies and Crushers, there is no score. As I send it over to Joey Miller, he'll take you through the next few innings. And I'll have a chance to respond to some of the texts from my friends about Jason Dominguez tonight.
Yeah, a lot to talk about him as well, as the first pitch is ripped into left field through the hole. Hernandez starting things off here with a single.
He's playing the outfield. He's making shoestring catches out there, and he's getting base hits.
I think it's the facial hair.
It might be.
Ever since he cut that beard, he's been having some great nights, not just defensively from behind the dish, but now offensively. He's just been a consistent hitter, even if it's just 1 hit a night. Aside from last night, of course, which everybody kind of just went quiet, as this one's hit into right field by Cole Brannon on the first pitch. And back-to-back singles for the bottom of the lineup here to start things off here in the bottom of the third.
For Brannon, breaks an 0 for 18 slump. Hopefully that can get him going again. And so a talk with Matt Mulhern for Jackson Pritchard, the ex-Grizzly battery tonight for Lake Erie. For those unaware, I'm a New York Yankees fan, and it's been a rough summer, of course, but Jason Dominguez, the Martian, making his Major League debut tonight, a first at-bat home run off of Justin Verlander.
Yeah, the age difference there, we were talking about it during the break, as Mark Vierling, the leadoff hitter, takes the first pitch low on a fastball for ball one. The age difference is significant. I believe Verlander is 40 at this point, or just above 40.
Something like that.
And Jason Dominguez, to my recollection, was born in 2003, which would make him 20 years old. As this one is chopped towards the shortstop Watkins, on to second and then on to first. The only out recorded is at second as Hernandez advances to third. It'll be a fielder's choice to get Vierling aboard.
A good job by Vierling to run that out. A double play after those first couple of base runners reached would be kind of a bummer. But a chance to score here with Andrew Penner up. For Gateway again, Gonzalez got out of a big jam in the top of the inning. Gateway trying to make Lake Erie pay.
First pitch to Penner is fouled off to the right side over the net for strike one. Andrew Penner, no stranger to RBIs. He has 56 on the year so far. Runners at the corners. The 0-1 with Mark Vierling heading towards second. This one popped up in foul territory. Rago, the first baseman, settling under it, making the grab. Vierling doing a great job getting back to first. He's safe there as the second out is recorded.
Unfortunate there, Penner trying to go the other way with it. As you mentioned, Vierling had to turn around and hustle.
So with that, still a couple fast runners on the bases, but now two outs for Peter Zimmerman. The big bat in the 3 spot. A throw over to first to check on Vierling after he took off on the previous pitch. He is in there safe.
Well, for Gateway, the 2 hits at the top of this inning, their first 2 of the game off Mulhern. A lot of early action in the contest so far.
A big swing and a miss on the fastball upstairs for strike one. Zimmerman's 3rd game back since the injury earlier in August. As we head into the September days of this 2023 season. The next pitch misses low and outside for ball one.
September 1st, the Grizzlies, although they didn't play outstandingly great baseball in August, still finished with a 16-12 record in the month. Had a winning record in every month this year.
Another throw over to first. Vierling slides in there safely. That's his 2nd disengagement this at-bat.
Even that really rough June where they had to endure the Valley Cats in New Jersey and Evansville and Florence. They still finished 12-11 in June.
And now the runner Vierling going. A fastball missing inside, and this one sails over the head of Frontino. That'll score the run. Hernandez breaks the shutout here. 1-0 Grizzlies on the throwing error.
It's a stolen base for Vierling, but Hernandez comes home on an E2. Jackson Pritchard just airmailing that one out towards second base.
Well, we've seen how costly errors can be for the Grizzlies side of things, and now it's seeming apparent here for the Crushers as the next pitch misses outside for ball 3 and a hitter's count for Peter Zimmerman with a runner in scoring position.
The run is unearned for now. If Zimmerman can get a hit, it could become earned.
The 3-1 misses outside, ball 4, and he is aboard at first base.
And the walk still doesn't make it earned, but a hit by Clint Freeman would, or any way getting on base for that matter for Freeman would cause the run to become earned.
So a pair of Missouri Tigers on base right now. And Vierling, the lead runner, Zimmerman, the trail runner. And now Clint Freeman steps up here, the lefty, with big power here. He's shown it this series so far, 2 home runs, including a big walk-off in that doubleheader as this one's hit into center field. Coming over is Harris, and it gets over his head towards the wall. Vierling comes around to score, and now Zimmerman being held up at third as Freeman is in there with an RBI double.
Jack Harris completely misread that. He was cutting over to his right when he should have been going back into his right. And that'll make the run earned. That'll make both runs earned, in fact, on the double by Freeman. Powering it the other way. He's gone the other way so much more since returning from the injured list. I wonder if that's a conscious adjustment he's made.
Perhaps something he worked on in the cages. I know he's a man of the game. He's a very smart, intuitive guy when it comes to reading the stats. But now runners at second and third for DJ Stewart. He takes a fastball for strike one. And a chance to score some more runs as this is a 2-0 ball game in the Grizzlies' favor.
Zimmerman being held up at third there by Steve Brook. Probably a good decision there.
The 0-1 is hit into center field. Backing up is Harris once again towards the wall. And it gets over the wall. Or off the wall. Excuse me. 2 runs score on the RBI double. Now it is a 4-0 ball game.
It looked like a breaking ball that just kind of hung there. And Stewart just whacking it back from whence it was pitched. Big rally here for Gateway with 2 outs. It's exactly what happened against Mulhern the last time they saw him.
So back-to-back doubles, both RBIs for Freeman and Stewart. 2 for Stewart, that is, as Kyle Goodell takes the fastball inside. A check swing there, but he doesn't go around for ball 1. Grizzlies starting to figure it out here offensively. The 1-0 is swung on and missed on a half swing and a miss there for strike one. Kyle Goodell getting to work here. Just trying to move runners along on this 2-out rally. The 1-1 missing outside for ball 2 on the off speed. There's now 4 hits in this inning. That ties up the 4 hits for the Crushers through the first 3. And now the 2-1. A fastball trying to frame it towards the outside corner. Misses for ball 3. Goodell was up last inning. He flew out to left field.
The last time that Gateway saw Mulhern, they actually scored 6 runs off of him in the 3rd inning with 2 outs.
This one is hit into left field. Back goes Matthews, and it is caught at the warning track for the 3rd out. It'll leave Stewart stranded. But the Grizzlies get on top with a big 4-run rally to get themselves up by 4 heading into the 4th here on the Grizzlies Media Network. Heading into the 4th, the Grizzlies up by 4 after a 4-run rally, and now number 4. Joey Gonzalez will look to get the shutdown inning here.
And how many times we're going to pass the ball before we shoot? 4.
Ha! The movie reference there, I believe. Is that Hoosiers?
Yes, it's Hoosiers.
I know we've mentioned this before.
You need to watch it.
I still haven't seen it yet. But we got some off days next week, so maybe that'll be a movie night option.
That's fine with me. I was gonna suggest a wild card game watch party of sorts.
That's still in the works. We were talking about this earlier today. We love the gramophone. Not sponsored, of course. This is just our own. Well, I do. I've been there. You haven't yet.
I'm planning on going. By the way, if you want to sponsor the Gateway Grizzlies gramophone, if you're somehow tuned in cosmically, we would very much like that.
And maybe play some of our games at the bar. That is a wonderful place to get yourself some good sandwiches there.
Even Greg in our chat is incredulous you haven't seen Hoosiers.
Yeah, I know. I haven't had time. I tried to watch it, but I fell asleep. And that was at a sleepover, I believe, when I was in 5th grade. But nevertheless, back to the game here. It'll be Watkins first up here.
It's a true story, you know.
Yeah, I believe it's Indiana, right?
Indiana high school basketball.
That would make sense. But now Jared Watkins takes the first pitch for strike 1 on the corner. Nice framework there by Estrada. First time up, flew out to center field. The lefty stands in there for the 0-1 count. This one is skied towards the left side, going foul and getting over the net for strike 2. Heading towards the Webster crew.
Well, in the movie Hickory High School, which in real life was Milan High School in Indiana, it's a very small school. It made it all the way to the state championship and won it.
Classic movie story as the 0-2 is hit towards right field. Penner backing up into right field and making the play, but getting him off the bag is Freeman. He'll be in there safely with a hit. A nice effort there by Penner.
Oh, if he made that play, that would have been on SportsCenter later.
A great effort there, but nevertheless, a leadoff hit here, similar to the 3rd inning, where it was a leadoff single. And now Gonzalez trying to work his way out of this with no outs is Irizarry.
Back to Hoosiers, the home gym of the fictional Hickory High School is still standing.
Sure, a popular tourist spot that is. The first pitch fouled back to the screen for strike 1.
It is in Knightstown, Indiana, just to the east of Indianapolis along I-70, or a little bit off of it, obviously, on one of those small country roads off of I-70. But I've been there, and I've actually shot baskets. You can do that at the Hoosier Gym, as it's called.
And how'd you do? How many did you make?
I just shot around. I wasn't paying attention.
That's fair. An 0-1 count. A swing and a miss by Irizarry. For a 2-strike count again for Joey Gonzalez.
I mean, walking into it, having seen Hoosiers and loved it, it was one of those, out-of-body experiences. Like, my goodness, am I really here?
It's probably similar to going to the Field of Dreams site as well.
Very analogous.
I got to get there as well. The 0-2 is slowly hit foul left side. Stays 0-2. The runner at first, Watkins, leading off with a single. That's their 5th hit of the day. A 4-0 contest in the Grizzlies' favor. Middle infielders in double play depth. Hoping for a ground ball here. Estrada sets up outside. The 0-2 is fouled back to the screen. Stays 0-2.
How about that East Division playoff picture? New York now with a 1-0 lead in the 5th against New Jersey in the 2nd game of that doubleheader, 7-inning game. Sussex County still leading 2-1 over the Grays, bottom 7. Quebec has come back and now leads Ottawa 5-3 in the 6th. And Trois-Rivières has taken a 6-4 lead on Tri-City in the 5th.
The 0-2 is fouled over the net this time, and 3 straight foul balls here. Keeps it at an 0-2 count.
Tri-City, Sussex, and New York are all separated by just about a game in the chase for one final wild card spot in the East, while Quebec and New Jersey are neck and neck for the division title. Whoever loses that will likely be the 2 seed and host that wild card game.
Working up the pitch count here is Irizarry. The 0-2 is off the end of the bat. Slowly hit, goes foul. But like you were saying, Jason, the Valley Cats needing to fight back here, but Trois-Rivières is hungry to spoil. Right
yes,
now.
there was somebody who posted on Twitter that was at Trois-Rivières, and they talked to some Aigles players, and they said that they were motivated. They knew exactly what was going on with Tri-City, and they were motivated to spoil their playoff chances.
It has been a consistent 0-2 count on Irizarry. Attacking the strike zone is Gonzalez. A curveball misses just outside. A beautiful one for ball 1. Breaking up the foul ball back to back to back to back. Nice spot on the corner there, just trying to get a big punch out here. Gonzalez gets set. And now the 1-2. This one hit in the air towards left field. Left center coming in is Brannon. It drops down in front of him in no man's land. That'll be a single, a bloop single there for Irizarry.
Goodell didn't see it. That's his ball all the way, and I don't know if Vierling really saw it either, because that was a ball that he probably could have gotten. Brannon was the only one who saw it, and even with his outstanding speed, he couldn't run in and get that one. That's really unfortunate. Gonzalez had him dead to rights there, or dead to lefts, I should say.
Not to mention he was up on him 0-2 in that count for so long, and that big curveball could have been a nice punch out there, but now as it sits, runners at first and second with no outs. And now Pritchard. He'll take the first pitch for strike 1, right down the middle.
Pritchard singled his first time up. And he's got a chance to atone for the error, although it really doesn't matter anymore because the Grizzlies were able to rally, and it was an earned run anyway, but it broke the scoreless tie, that error, last inning.
The 0-1 is off the end of the bat towards right field. Coming in is Hernandez. It'll drop in front of him. Coming around to score is Watkins. He'll make it to the plate safely standing up. And it'll be a double, an RBI double for Pritchard.
They're going to call it a single and an advancing on the throw home by Hernandez. He showed off the arm there. I'm not sure if even Jairus Richards gets to that ball. That was kind of just flared off the end of the bats. And a couple of real unfortunate pieces of contact here for Gonzalez, neither of them hard, but Lake Erie gets on the board.
Breaks a shutout here, with now runners at second and third. Irizarry at third and Pritchard's at second. Now Sam Frontino, he'll take strike 1. Gonzalez doing a great job getting ahead of the count here.
Yeah, he's thrown strike 1 on the first pitch of every batter this inning, except none of them have actually been retired. Usually there's a correlation between those two.
Gonzalez still trying to get an out here. The 0-1. This one fouled right side, goes out of play. I think goes through the holes in the light pole.
He's been ahead 0-2 now on 3 of the 4 hitters he's faced in this inning.
3 straight singles to start off this top of the 4th. And now an 0-2. A swing and a miss. He got him. A big punch out there for the first out. He definitely needed that one. And Frontino is retired. Another Grizzlies strikeout brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Know what's below before you dig. Always call Julie at 811 or visit IllinoisOneCall.com.
Elsewhere in the Frontier League in the West Division, Evansville leads Schaumburg 3-1. They're in the bottom of the 4th. Also in the bottom of the 4th, Florence and Joliet are tied at 1. And Washington up 7-0, hosting Windy City in the 7th.
It'll be Todd Isaacs. He'll sky this one, heading foul, right side. Coming over is Freeman towards the net, and he can't make the play there. Hits at the wall, but it is strike one on Isaacs. Isaacs has had himself a day so far, 2 for 2 with a couple of singles. Doing what he needs to do in that leadoff spot. And he has a chance for a couple of ribbies here. Gonzalez steps off the mound for a second, noticing the pitch clock winding down. Trying to collect himself and get the right sign from Estrada, his battery mate. Gonzalez, the 0-1. This one fouled to the screen for strike two, and here's another 0-2 count. Isaacs doing what he can here to stay alive. Estrada gets his sign to Gonzalez. And now the 0-2. This one hit into right field. Backing up is Hernandez at the wall, and it bounces off the lower part of the wall. That'll score one run. Heading into second. The throw gets away from Vierling, but a nice backup there by Stewart. It'll be an RBI double. Isaacs a 3-hit night.
The 3-hit night already. That's 8 hits in the first 4 innings for Lake Erie. 4 in this inning alone. And again, the first 3 were softly hits. One of them probably should have been an out, but it was lost in the sky. That one was a rocket the other way by Isaacs. And now you have the tying runs in scoring position for Jack Harris, who also had a hard-hit baseball his last time up. And for Gonzalez, he has given up 2 runs back. He would hate to give up all of the runs back after Gateway worked so hard to get the 4 spot on the board.
The shutdown inning is out of the question at this point, but right now, another out will suffice. As Joey Gonzalez gets ready to face Jack Harris for the 3rd time tonight. The first pitch to him gets away from the glove of Estrada, but he gets to it in time to prevent the run from scoring, and Pritchard at third.
Gonzalez is wondering how that's not a strike as he ran in. That was a strike for sure. I'm looking at the slightly delayed broadcast here on FloBaseball, and yeah, that's down the middle.
It's Chris Diekman behind the dish. Now Jack Harris down 1-0. A curveball missing low for ball 2. That went inside. Gonzalez starting to get frustrated with the umpire.
Starting to get frustrated in general. Again, he's done his job, generally speaking. He's gotten the Crushers to not put it in play too hard, or at least for the most part.
The 2-0 is swung on and missed. A big swing there by Harris. A fastball gets by him for strike one.
A big uppercut there for Harris on that pitch inside.
Trying to lift one over the wall. He's just on the cusp of double-digit home runs at 9. He leads this team in home runs as well. The 2-1, a fastball, hits for strike two. A nice one outside on the edge.
Well, Harris hit the breaking ball for his double his last at bat. So Gonzalez pumping over fastballs here, getting a couple strikes. That might set up the breaking ball. But Gonzalez probably wants to not have it be a strike.
Try and keep it outside as well. The 2-2 is swung on and missed. And Harris is set down, the second strikeout of the inning, and an all-important second out. A Grizzlies strikeout Once again, brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Play it safe this season. Call Julie before you dig. Simply dial 811. It's smart, it's free, and it's the love.
Or he could just go back to the fastball again, which he did, and blew it by Harris.
Nice cutting action outside and sets him down. But still, the problem remains with a couple runners in scoring position. The first one, a check swing foul by Matthews. He got aboard first in the first with a hit by pitch, and also lined out with a soft one to Mark Vierling at short. Gonzalez readies as he looks back at second base, and now firing the 0-1. Hits on a fastball for strike two.
Lake Erie has left a grand total of 5 runners on in the first 3 innings. 3 of those in scoring position. Gonzalez trying to add to that total.
Trying to clean up the wounds here. The 0-2 is swung on and missed. He got him. A third strikeout for Joey Gonzalez as he walks back to the dugout, having allowed 2 to come across to the plate on a couple hits. But the Grizzlies still up by 2. A 4-2 score here heading into the bottom of the 4th here on the Grizzlies Media Network. Heading into the bottom of the 4th, the Grizzlies will look to pick up after Joey Gonzalez let 3 singles get across to lead off the top of the 4th. Scoring 2 eventually were the Crushers to cut their lead within 2. But the Grizzlies still on top 4-2. Recognition being made here for Military Appreciation Night. Estrada getting ready to step up to the plate, but first takes his helmet off to show that appreciation towards our servicemen and women. And now Estrada will be the start of the bottom of this lineup that Mulhern will face here in the 4th. We'll look to get aboard as he takes this first pitch straight to Irizarry on a one-hopper, throwing on to first for the first out. Anticlimactic first pitch. And the first out is set in stone for Mulhern. It'll be Hernandez stepping up here. He got aboard with a single also on a first pitch to lead off the 3rd inning. They'll take the first pitch this time for strike 1 on a fastball right down the middle. The 0-1 is hit towards the third baseman, gets past the glove into left field. Hernandez will stop at first as he rounds towards second. In there with another single, a 2-hit day for Hernandez.
Fortunate was Lake Erie there that hit the sidewall near the bullpen and kicked straight back out towards center field rather than going all the way to the corner. That's a double if it does off the bat of Hernandez.
And now another person who got a hit in his last time up, Cole Brannon at the bottom of this lineup. The first pitch A breaking ball hits for strike one at the knees. The righty on lefty matchup here will look to do something with one out. Mulhern fires the 0-1, getting him to move off the plate a little bit inside for ball one. Still a good fan section out for Mulhern, the former Webster alum and Grizzly alum. The next pitch missing outside for ball two. Not fooling Brannon here.
Shout out to Bill Ridings, by the way. He's in our chat for the first time in a while. Hi, Bill.
The next pitch, a broken bat, ground ball towards the shortstop, thrown on to second for the easy out there. Cole Brannon too fast to make the double play there, though. It'll be 2 outs for the top of the lineup.
We mentioned that Mulhern started the last game of the season last year here at Grizzlies ballpark. Stephen Ridings pitched in that series. I think he might have pitched the day before that. I don't think he was the starter for the final game, but Bill can correct me if I need to be corrected.
The first pitch is in there for strike one on Mark Vierling. He got aboard with the fielder's choice last time up, came around to score. Also had a line out to shortstop. Throw over to first to check on Brannon, and the ball gets away. Brannon taking off with his big speed towards second. He gets in there safely.
I think they called interference there on Rago. Preston Childers pointed right at Rago when contact was made.
He was trying to get around him as the ball went away.
Inadvertent or otherwise, that's interference.
So now a runner in scoring position on an 0-1 count, taking the ball one upstairs is Mark Vierling. A chance to add some more run support for their starter.
And I don't think that's an error as well.
I don't believe it appears to be. The next pitch missing outside.
It's just straight up interference because the ball didn't get too far away. You can't really, it hit the glove of the first baseman. You can't really call that an error on somebody. Regardless, though, as you mentioned, fast runner in scoring position.
The 2-1 is fouled back over the net for strike two. Vierling has been great in the month of August, heading into a new month. He had 2 home runs last month.
First 2 of his career, one of which was this past week. Overall, in August, Vierling had a .261 average, pretty decent.
The 2-2 is swung on and missed. This one heading low in the turf for the third out. Leaving the runner stranded with Brannon in scoring position. The Grizzlies can't get anything working for them as Mulhern gets the shutdown inning. 4-2, still Grizzlies on top after 4 here on the Grizzlies Media Network. Gonzalez getting back to work here in the top of the 5th. The first 3 innings he faced no more than 5 batters, and then it was the 4th where things got out of control with 3 straight singles Four hits in that inning as the shutout was broken by the Crushers. It is a 4-2 game. Gonzalez will look to hold the line here.
The 6 strikeouts that he has have really come at great times with runners in scoring position. Got Rego twice, in fact, in those situations for the second outs of the first and third, respectively. And then, as we mentioned, the 2 with runners at second and third last inning to bring the inning to an end. That was what Gonzalez wasn't getting his last start. He was allowing runners on base, but he couldn't strike out the Boomers.
They'll face Rego here. The first pitch cutting inside for ball 1.
Lake Erie much more of a free swinging lineup.
You mentioned the 6 strikeouts, 3 of them coming last inning and 2 of them on the day coming on Rego. He's 0 for 2 today. The next pitch missing low and outside for ball 2. And what he was doing last inning was getting ahead of counts. Right now he finds himself behind 2-0 here. Rocks back and fires the 2-0. This one hit high in the air towards shallow right, backing up his Penner. But calling him off is Hernandez. He'll make the grab for the first out.
And Bill Ridings, being an umpire himself, he thinks what we had last inning with the first baseman Rego actually running into Cole Brannon as he tried to pursue the baseball, which got away into foul territory. He thinks that it was an obstruction call, not interference, and I think he's right, technically.
I'll take his word over mine for sure. The first pitch, a breaking pitch in there for strike 1 on Roa. He's 0 for 2 today as well. He's been the third out in both instances. Flew out to second and grounded out to the pitcher. The next pitch is tapped in the dirt for strike 2. Kind of ricocheting off of him. He has a couple words with Dykman.
Yeah, those two guys have been in the league for quite some time. Dykman ever since I was a first-year Frontier League broadcaster. And Roa arrived in Washington in 2017. Had a falling out with the Wild Things before this season, was on their spring training roster. Went to the Atlantic League to start. Now he's back here with a different club in the Frontier League, extending some career numbers that he has as he calls time.
Just readjusting his batting gloves here.
This is a guy who's just outside the top 5 or 6 in the league in career numbers in a lot of different categories.
The 0-2, missing low for ball 1. He was not fooled by that one. He does so well, Gonzalez does, with those low fastballs cutting inside. A nice spot to hit there. Gonzalez now the 1-2. A swing and a miss. Roa is set down for the second out. His 7th strikeout on the day, and all Grizzlies strikeouts brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Safe digging is no accident. Before you dig, call 811 or go to IllinoisOneCall.com. That's Illinois, the number 1 call.com.
There's that rarely used righty-righty changeup that Gonzalez does possess in his arsenal. Got it. Roa looking fastball way out in front of it.
As Watkins takes the first pitch outside for ball 1.
Strikeout number 7 for Gonzalez. That ties the most he has had in a start since the middle of July. Only one time did he have 7 strikeouts since then, and that's against Lake Erie as well.
Stewart working in, backing up as he gets strike 1 called on him. Watkins does.
You remember early in the season, Gonzalez struck out 7 one day, 8, 6, 7, 8. He was really racking them up.
He's no stranger to the strikeout. The 1-1 is tapped towards the first baseman, Freeman. He'll step on the bag himself and get the third out. The quickest inning for Joey Gonzalez. He gets the big 0 here in the 5th, keeping the Grizzlies on top 4-2, heading into the bottom of the 5th here on the Grizzlies Media Network. Bottom of the 5th here. The Grizzlies will look to get their next licks in here. It'll be Penner, Zimmerman, and Freeman, some big bats here, against Mulhern, who has been doing quite excellent despite the poor 3rd inning that got across 4 runs for the Grizzlies. It'll be Penner to step up here first. He's 0 for 2 on the night.
Well, we got some drama in the East. Quebec now with an 8-3 lead over Ottawa, looking to rebound from that forfeit last night.
The first pitch misses for ball 1.
Trois-Rivières now with an 8-4 lead over Tri-City. That's a really big result. New York with a 1-0 lead on New Jersey.
This one skied to right field. Backing up is Roa, heading towards the porch, and he makes the grab at the wall there, reaching over the short wall for the first down.
Another 4 feet or 5 feet, and that would be the truest of the true Grizz bombs we've seen. I thought that was a fly ball that was easily playable in right, and then it started to carry.
Huge launch angle on that one.
Sussex County with a 2-1 lead there now in the bottom of the 8th against the Grays. New Jersey has already won 1 game of the doubleheader today.
The first pitch to Zimmerman hits for strike 1 outside.
Resuming a previously suspended game from July 17th in New Jersey. They finish it up in New York.
The 0-1 heading towards the outside corner, but this time missing for ball 1.
It was really weird because when that happens in the Frontier League, you have to pick up the game where it finished or where it was suspended, which means that New Jersey was the home team on the road.
Now the 1-1, again heading towards that outside edge, but this one hitting for strike 2. There was a half check swing there by Zimmerman. It didn't matter. Now he is down 1-2. Mulhern, the pitch missing high for ball 2. Trying to work fast on Zimmerman.
We're going to keep an eye on those standings all throughout the weekend. There are 3 teams fighting for 1 spot and 2 other teams fighting for the division out east.
The 2-2 is hit off the bat towards the screen. Stays 2-2.
That was coming up here, if not for the screen. I had my hands ready.
You always do. You have those instincts. But you never played baseball.
I did not.
The 2-2. This one hardly hit. Or hard hit, I should say, towards the bleachers, goes foul.
I've been in Frontier League ballparks so long, though, that I know when balls are headed my way. There's only been one that's ever come into the broadcast booth, by the way, for me personally.
The next pitch, an off-speed breaking ball missing inside. And now a full count for Zimmerman.
Luckily, it didn't destroy any electronics or anything. I did not catch it.
The payoff pitch is swung over and missed. A foul tip into the glove. A strikeout for Zimmerman and the second out of the inning for Mulhern.
I didn't make the catch, but it kind of came into the window just to my right at Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois. And then, of course, I picked it up and reached out the window and showed it to all of the fans in the house who gave me a cheer.
Do you know where that ball is today? This one is hit into left field, shallow, and it gets down between the shortstop Watkins and the left fielder Matthews. Freeman gets aboard with a single. Going the other way.
Well, the bat dies a hero there.
You can hear the bat break.
Talk about no man's land.
A lot of those bloop singles tonight on both sides as it brings up Stewart with 2 outs. Stewart had himself a double, an RBI double. 2 RBI doubles, I should say.
75 now on the year. Nice round number in the RBI department for DJ.
He takes strike 1 down the middle.
Clint Freeman's now been on base 3 times.
He's really picked it up since coming back off the IL. The 0-1. This one just off the plate for ball 1. DJ nods at that one, agreeing with the umpire.
And Chris Dykman was really close to calling that a strike. He usually turns to the side there when he signals for it.
Now the 1-1. Missing low again, this time inside for ball 2. Trying to stay low is Mulhern. But Stewart can turn on any pitch.
Well, he wasn't able to stay low, and Stewart responded by hitting a double off the wall his last time up.
The 2-1 is yoked into left field. That'll clear the wall. A 2-run home run by DJ Stewart expands the lead, 6-2 for the Grizzlies.
Good old hanging breaking ball, and Stewart absolutely clobbered it out past the light tower in left center field. That's his 13th home run, and now he's got 77 runs batted in. All Grizzlies home runs are brought to you by Trost Plastics, family-owned vinyl fencing specialist serving the St. Louis metro area since 1988. Hit it over the fence with Trost Plastics fence and deck specialists. We don't have Yakkertech anymore, but you've got the measurements.
I do. That ball sailed 395 feet, almost a 400-footer at 99 miles per hour off the bat, as the first pitch misses outside off the glove of Pritchard for ball 1 to Kyle Goodell. That is Stewart's 4th RBI today, or rather 3rd and 4th RBIs today. The next pitch, a fastball missing outside for a 2-0 count by Kyle Goodell.
Over the last couple weeks, DJ Stewart has absolutely thrived here at Grizzlies ballpark, even more so than usual. Really driving in the runs.
And 6 RBIs on the homestand now as this one's hit into right field. Backing up is Roa, and that'll clear the porch. Back-to-back bombs. This one for Kyle Goodell, a solo shot, and now it's a 7-2 ball game.
It just went the other way with it. The ball's carrying tonight. And that one went to the concourse level right near the back wall of ads. For Kyle Goodell, that's his 10th home run. He's only played in about a third of the season for Gateway. But another big fly against Mulhern, and all Grizzlies home runs again are brought to you by Trost Plastics, their family-owned vinyl fencing specialist serving the St. Louis metro area since 1988. Hit it over the fence with Trost Plastics fence and deck specialists.
How about that? Double-digit home runs for the hitting coach. The first pitch misses low for ball 1 to Willie Estrada. That home run, 338 feet, just over the right field wall.
It's not a Grizz bomb. That's out a lot of places.
The next pitch missing low again for ball 2 to Willie Estrada.
Right down the right field line, 338 feet. That's out in a lot of ballparks.
The 2-0 is hit towards right field again, but this one's sailing towards the foul pole. This one goes foul.
Just in front of it, right in that sliver of foul territory in the corner there. Roa trying to protect himself as well, reaching out. He didn't want to jam his hand or anything.
I think it hit off the wall a little bit. That narrow area by the right field foul pole, as well as the left field foul pole.
Oh, by the way, now 7 runs on the board for Gateway, all of them with 2 outs.
The next pitch misses inside. Leaning back is Estrada, and he's now up 3-1.
Even the first one, the one that came in on the error at the time by Pritchard, was with 2 outs in the inning.
The hitters count 3-1, leans him off the plate again, and now he is aboard with a walk, following 3 consecutive hits, including back-to-back bombs. Mulhern starting to show some wear.
It started off this game very strong, and look at Carson LaRue sprinting in from the dugout, or from the clubhouse.
Looks like he got Clint Freeman a new piece of lumber.
Yeah, because he might, he just was helping out a teammate there. He had to decelerate very quickly as he headed toward the dugout. Nick Kennedy, who's the birthday boy today, turning 35, is the Grizzlies pitching coach. He kind of acted as an extra set of brakes there for Carson LaRue.
Tell him to bring out the running parachute.
Well, with 2 outs in this game, all gas, no brakes for the Gateway Grizzlies. Again, just trying to finish up the season strong, as Lake Erie is. Of course, Lake Erie won't be a playoff team. Gateway looking to maintain momentum into the postseason. And it's a scoreless start to this ball game, and since Mr. Miller took over the play-by-play, literally every single run in this game was scored.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of help as well by the bottom of this lineup, and coming up as one of those 2 is Alex Hernandez. He's 2 for 2 today with a couple singles. And his other catcher battery catcher at first, Willie Estrada. He's playing right field, however, tonight. First pitch is fouled off the handle towards the screen for strike one.
And nobody up for Lake Erie in the bullpen. They're going to let Mulhern get out of this himself. Pitch count was only 58 through the first 4 innings, so it's not like he's in danger.
The next pitch is ripped left side, goes foul.
Unless you count all the danger of the base runners in this inning with 2 outs, single, 2 homers, and a walk. Speaking of danger, Trois-Rivières' lead is now 2 runs, 8-6 over Tri-City. They're in the top of the 7th.
Mulhern throws over to first to check on Estrada. He gets in there standing.
Boulder's lead in game 2 of that doubleheader. Bottom 6 is now 4-0. So some breathing room against New Jersey. They tried to split that twin bill.
A runner at first in the 0-2, a swing and a miss. The pitch off the plate. And Hernandez down on strikes to end this inning, which started with back-to-back outs. And then a single, a home run, and then another one. DJ Stewart, Kyle Goodell, back-to-back bombs. The Grizzlies now up 7-2 over the Crushers after 5 here on the Grizzlies Media Network. Three runs come across the plate for the Grizzlies in the bottom of the 5th on a pair of home runs by DJ Stewart and Kyle Goodell. And it'll be Joey Gonzalez back to work. He's pitched efficiently through 5, 81 pitches, and 62 of them strikes. He's gotten ahead of a lot of counts, but a lot of hits also on the board for the Crushers. They are tied with the Grizzlies at 8 apiece on the night.
Well, Bill Ridings in our Mixler chat asks about the forfeit. Yes, the Quebec Capitals beat New York last night but had to forfeit the game. And this is the reason they had to do it. The rule is that if somebody gets hurt past the roster deadline in the Frontier League mid-August, meaning you can't bring in any more outside players from outside of your roster, you can make trade. I think you might be able to. And I think you can also not make trades anymore inside the league or outside of it. So sometimes, baseball happens. Somebody gets hurt, and you have to replace that player. Well, you can replace the injured player, but they have to be the exact same position as the player that got hurt.
To avoid any ringers in the playoffs. But it'll be Irizarry to start things off here for the Crushers in the 6th. He takes strike 1 outside.
Well, Marc-Antoine Lebrun was hurt and is out for the rest of the year for Quebec. So they had to replace him, and they did with Greg Bird, the former major leaguer.
The 0-1 is hit sharply towards Penner. He fields it cleanly and throws on to first for the first down.
And even though Bird was a first baseman when he came up with the Yankees in 2015, they signed him and put him on their roster as an outfielder to comply with the rule. Well, another part of the rule is that you can't say that the guy's an outfielder, for example, and have him play, say, second base, but he remains an outfielder on your roster. He can't even play any other positions other than the one he's assigned to on the roster.
Not even DH, I believe. The first pitch misses outside for ball 1 to Jackson Pritchard, the catcher.
No, I think he can DH. Anybody can DH. But Greg Bird played first base last night for the Quebec Capitals, and that's not allowed, so they had to forfeit.
The 1-0 missing upstairs in on the hands of Pritchard's. Now down 2-0 is Gonzalez.
So essentially, the league in their email said that they don't believe Quebec did it on purpose. There was no ill intent behind it.
The 2-0 is swung on and missed for strike one.
But they had to enforce the rule, unfortunately, and so that throws a wrench into the East Division playoff picture.
And that's really tough for Quebec, too, because there was that late comeback in the eighth. David Glode coming back, doing a lot there with a wild pitch to get them within two as the next pitch misses for ball three.
Greg in our chat says that sounds like a crazy rule. Well, again, it's to prevent things like a team signing a really big bat or something like that just for the playoffs.
Now the 3-1, missing low for ball four. Just missed away with that one. And now Pritchard is aboard with one out.
Well, Jackson Pritchard having mostly a good day in his return to Gateway here as a visiting player. First time since he was released in July of last year. 2 singles, an RBI, and a walk, although he has committed an error that led to the first run of the game.
It'll be Frontino at the bottom of the lineup. The first pitch to him, missing outside. A nice block by Estrada keeps it in front of him for ball one.
Well, Estrada could not, or Gonzalez couldn't get the shutdown inning the first time that Gateway put a big run scoring rally on the board. And if you do so here, that's a 5-run lead after 5.5. And although no lead's ever safe here, that's a pretty good, decent cushion for the Gateway Grizzlies.
Gonzalez now the 1-0 as this one's ripped into center field. Backing up is Brannon. He'll backpedal and make the grab for the second out. Frontino is now 0 for 3 on the day with a couple strikeouts. It'll bring back the top of the lineup. Well, 2 outs has been the name of the game for the Grizzlies, and now the Crushers will try to do something here in that similar scenario. But Todd Isaacs here, he's been having himself one heck of a day. 3 for 3. All on hits, 1 extra base hit. Back in the fourth, an RBI double. This one fouled back for strike one.
Yeah, he's gone to left field, he's gone to center field, he's gone to right field as well for his RBI double, and 2 of those hits with 2 strikes. Isaacs can really swing the bat. He wasn't healthy when the Grizzlies last played Lake Erie, and that was a pretty big break for the Grizzlies in that one. They didn't have to face him.
Gonzalez now the 0-1. A big wave and a miss for strike 2. And again, an 0-2 count on Isaacs.
Isaacs out of Florida, played 1 year in the Rockies organization and 4 years with Cleveland, drafted out of junior college in Florida.
No stranger to purple on his jerseys then.
Yeah, he played at Grand Junction for most of his tenure there.
Now in the Pioneer League. Or actually, it's always been the Pioneer League, but now independent Pioneer League. The 0-2 is swung on and missed as he had to protect himself. That one coming towards his face. And a big strikeout for Joey Gonzalez to end things here. All Grizzlies strikeouts brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Know what's below. Before you dig, always call Julie at 811 or visit IllinoisOneCall.com. And that solidifies the shutdown inning for Joey Gonzalez as the Grizzlies are still on top by 5. 7-2 is the score heading into the bottom of the 6th here on the Grizzlies Media Network. Joey Gonzalez comes up big with a shutdown inning, keeping the Grizzlies on top 7-2 heading into the bottom of the 6th here. And for the play-by-play responsibilities for the rest of this ball game, I send it over to my broadcast partner, Mr. Jason Garrett.
Well, the run-scoring tally currently is Joey Miller 9 runs and Jason Garrett no runs. So I'll see if I can change that around.
I got all the fun stuff.
Yeah, you did. I'm jealous. Cole Brandon, Mark Vierling, Andrew Penner due up 9-1 and 2 for Gateway. Pitched by Mulhern, who's still out there for Lake Erie, is down low, ball 1. Brandon with a single and a fielder's choice in this game, 1 for 2. Batting in the 9-hole, coming in a very big slump. Pitch is on the outside corner, strike 1. Mulhern has 87 pitches now, according to our unofficial count. There's a pitch that breaks over the inside edge and finds the zone for a called strike 2. Of the 88 pitches now, 49 have been strikes. He has not been as efficient as Gonzalez has. The 1-2 is down low as there's an emergency near the ballpark. We hear the emergency vehicle driving by with its lights on. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Brannon. And Mulhern working quickly, misses low in the turf once again, in the count 3-2. Had a big crowd of supporters, Mulhern did, from Webster University, his alma mater, who played their home games here. Not sure how many are still in the house. They might be roaming the concourse. As there's a ground ball up the first base line, fielded by Rago. He'll take a left turn and step on first base. 4 out, number 1 in the bottom of the 6th.
There's a lot of fun things to do at Grizzlies ballpark as we kind of wind things down here in the 2023 season. Definitely be sure to get your tickets for the playoffs here coming up here.
Absolutely. The Grizzlies will have their first home playoff game since 2012 next Saturday night, a week from tomorrow. Vierling swings at a breaking ball, flies it down the right field line. Should stay playable for Roa, and making a one-handed catch in the corner there is the veteran right fielder. And Vierling is retired. He's 0 for 4 now on the night out of the leadoff spot, and a quick second out. That will be game 2 of the division series next Saturday night, and then game 3 the following day, Sunday, if necessary. It'll be Gateway against whoever wins the wild card game on Tuesday between Schaumburg and Evansville. Fastball up and in on Penner makes it 1-0.
And there's also a preview of that game right now. The Otters at Schaumburg right now. They're on top 6-1 in the top of the 7th.
And they got a 6-0 win over Gateway last night, a complete game shutout by Tim Holdgrafer as the fastball is upstairs 2-0. Penner's 0 for 3. He's got a 14-game hit streak. That could be in jeopardy here. The 2-0 pitch. Line drive up the middle, and there's the streak extender. It's a base hit for Andrew Penner, 15 games in a row. And another 2-out hit for Gateway tonight off Mulhern.
Right as soon as you said it there.
By the way, both playoff games, 7 o'clock starts here at Grizzlies ballpark. Game 2 certainly, and game 3 if necessary as well. Get your tickets now. I call in the Grizzlies box office as Zimmerman takes a little high and in, 1-0. 618-337-3000, gatewaygrizzlies.com. You can also purchase a playoff pass. 1-0 is low, 2 balls and no strikes. That will get you the official playoff t-shirt that the Grizzlies wore on the field when they celebrated clinching a couple weeks ago against, or a week and a half ago rather, against Windy City. 2-0 pitch. Fastball is a called strike, top of the zone.
Here's something being celebrated over the right field wall. I don't see it right now, but there were a couple fireworks being set off.
Penner leads at first with 2 outs. There's a 2-1 ground ball foul by Zimmerman up the third base line, and it's 2-2. I believe it's $40. They'll get you, first of all, a ticket to all Grizzlies home playoff games, no matter how long they advance. And also that t-shirt.
That could be key because there could be a big ring moment here that you could witness with that pass.
2-2. Line drive into shallow left field. It'll sink down for a base hit in front of Matthews. And Zimmerman has himself a hit, although he's already been on base safely tonight with a walk and a run scored. His on-base streak now in games he's played in is 41 consecutive. Back-to-back two-out singles. All the runs scored in this game for Gateway have come with 2 outs. And here's Clint Freeman. He drove in one of those runs and is 2 for 2 with 2 runs scored, a walk and an RBI, along with a double. Mulhern deals righty to lefty. And the first pitch fastball in there for a called strike 1. Jason Garrett, Joey Miller with you here on the Grizzlies Media Network. And also, as the pitch is low and the count is 1-1, also the FloBaseball game of the week. So welcome to those of you watching either on YouTube or Facebook or X. Still hate to call it X.
It's Twitter.
I mean, it's twitter.com still, for crying out loud.
They work both ways.
Here's a 1-1. Line drive toward right center field. Got some carry, though, and making the catch is Harris. That'll retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. And we will come back with more action after this. Top of the 7th, Gateway leads 7-2 on the Grizzlies Media Network. Top of the 7th inning, Joey Gonzalez is back out there. And with the Gateway Grizzlies leading 7-2, right-handed starter at 93 pitches will face Harris, Matthews, and Rago. Jason Garrett, Joey Miller once again with you here. The playoff pass that we talked about for all Grizzlies playoff games is $20, in fact, not $40. So that's obviously a great price. It'll get you into all of the Grizzlies' home playoff games, no matter how many they have, and they could have a maximum of 5.
You know how they say in a marketing class, always start high, then work your way low?
Yes.
Well, you can get this for not just $40, but try $20. It's like an infomercial.
And it's better than a ShamWow. There's a swing and a miss by Jack Harris, and the count 0-1. Harris is 1 for 3 with a double tonight off of Gonzalez. A right-handed hitter against the right-hander Gonzalez, who has now thrown 94 pitches and 70 for strikes.
I knew I wasn't crazy. I hear the fireworks now.
0-1 is a changeup down and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's down the right field side. You can see them looking over the Country Bob's roof. It's down in Cahokia, I believe. Gonzalez gets his sign. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Wave and a miss on the pitch down off the turf. It's now 1-2 on the former Grizzly Jack Harris, his first game back here at Grizzlies Ballpark since being traded away to Lake Erie actually 2 off seasons ago. Now the 1-2. Fastball fouled away to the right, out of play. It's still 1-2. You know who the Grizzlies got back from Lake Erie? They had already traded him to Lake Erie earlier that offseason, but they got him back for in exchange for Harris.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say he's at third base.
No. Wrong trade.
And I'm not sure.
I believe he's here in this ballpark tonight. 1-2 is swung on and missed, and there is another strikeout for Joey Gonzalez. He gets Harris for the second time. All Grizzlies strikeouts are brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Know what's below before you dig. Always call Julie at 811 or visit IllinoisOneCall.com. That's now 9 strikeouts for Gonzalez, and that's a new season high.
And a lot of them cutting inside like it did there, kind of just trying to jam up hitters. And he has just worked so well with that cut fastball.
First pitch to Matthews, misses inside there. Matthews 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a hit by pitch. The player that was sent back to Gateway when Jack Harris was sent to Lake Erie was Abdiel Diaz.
I know he is in the ballpark tonight.
1-0 is off the literal hands and fouled off to the right, and on one bounce it gets into the Grizzlies dugout. It's 1-1.
I believe I saw him before the game chatting it up at a picnic table outside of the clubhouse with Mulhern, if I'm not mistaken.
That he was, correct. The two former teammates. Both joining Gateway in 2021. 1-1 pitch. A swing and a miss over the off speed by Matthews. Count is 1-2. So Cam Roth was the manager with Gateway in 2021, and then he was going to go back to Lake Erie, so he wanted to bring some guys with him. So one of those guys was Diaz, and then Steve Brook had to get him back when he took the job here. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Good slider. Sharp breaking, and there's 10 strikeouts for Joey Gonzalez. That ties his career high. He's racking up the Ks tonight. All Grizzlies strikeouts are brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Safe digging is no accident. Before you dig, call 811 or go to IllinoisOneCall.com. That's Illinois, the number 1call.com. That's 3 straight Crushers batters that have struck out as well. Josh Rago goes fishing and comes up empty on a first pitch fastball elevated for an 0-1 count. Rago has struck out twice and flown out to right. Gonzalez into his windup. Here's an 0-1. It's low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Twice before, Gonzalez has struck out 10. I believe both were last year with Tri-City. Last time he had 10 was July 9th of last year. 1-1 pitch. Grounded foul at home plate by Rago, and the count is 1-2. 1 strike away from a career high is Gonzalez in the strikeout department and also from striking out the side in order.
Not to mention that 2 away from 100 on the year.
Indeed, he's now got 98 strikeouts for the season. Here's a 1-2 to Rago. High fastball got a piece and fouled it back, staying alive at 1-2. Right-hander loosening for the Crushers down in the bullpen. Might be it for Mulhern tonight. That is Braden Bonner warming up. Gonzalez has his sign, and now time is called. An object, I think, got away. Either that or Rago called time. First game of this 3-game series to finish off the regular season. Into the windup, here comes a 1-2. Changeup just low. Good lead by Rago there, 2-2. Grizzly fan says they wish they could be here for the playoff games, but maybe they can catch a championship series game in New Jersey or New York. I know who that is. Here's a 2-2 pitch. It's down low, 3 balls and 2 strikes. That would be my loving mother on the chat. The only place they wouldn't be able to come out to see the Grizzlies fight for a championship would be Quebec. First things first, though, Grizzlies got to get there. 3-2 fastball, swung on, popped up. Foul territory off a third. Stewart into foul ground, right on the edge of the warning track, makes the catch. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Joey Gonzalez. He has tied his career high with 10 strikeouts, a season high as well with the Gateway Grizzlies. And it's a 7-2 ball game as we go to the 7th inning stretch. We'll be back after this on the Grizzlies Media Network. Matt Mulhern's day is done for the Lake Erie Crushers. The former Grizzly and the starter is in line for a loss as Gateway leads 7-2. Going to the bottom of the 7th, Braden Bonner, the right-hander who deals from a lower arm slot, comes in. On the season, Bonner has put up an ERA of 5.29 in 45 games, a 1-5 record. 48 hits allowed in 49 in the third innings, 36 runs, 29 earned with 28 walks and only 27 strikeouts. To hit Braden Bonner, to barrel him up, is really difficult. Batters hitting only .257 off of him with just 2 home runs, but he's also hit 12 batters and walked all those guys. DJ Stewart to lead off, followed by Goodell and Estrada. Both of the first 2 batters up, homered in their last at-bats. And there's a cutter just outside for ball number 1. For Matt Mulhern, 6 innings. He is charged with 7 runs, all earned, on a total of 10 hits. 1-0 is on the outside corner there for a called strike. Stewart is halfway to the cycle, although here in the bottom of the 7th, maybe would get a second at bat, but it would take a lot of runs being scored late. Has the double and the home run and 4 RBIs tonight as he grounds one sharply towards short, backhanded by Watkins deep in the hole, throws across in time and on target. So Stewart retired for the 2nd time today. Brings up Kyle Goodell, 1 for 3 with a solo home run in his last at bat down the right field line. It was not a Grizz bomb though. It reached the concourse level, 338 feet I believe from home plate. Righty versus righty pitch. Off speed is outside from Bonner, 1-0. 7 runs, 10 hits, and no errors for Gateway, leading 2 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error for Lake Erie. And Zach Treese beginning to toss for the Grizzlies in the bullpen. It appears that Gonzalez is done with a quality start. Didn't start out looking like it might end up this way, but really found his strikeout stroke.
And he really needed this bounce back for some confidence heading into the playoffs as well.
2-0 the count now on Goodell. A hitter's count in the matchup of 32s, the 2-0. Drive in the air to deep left, turning around is Matthews, giving up. This ball is long gone. Another home run for Goodell. It's a multi-homer game. Another solo blast to make it an 8-2 Gateway advantage. Just the 3rd home run allowed by Bonner this year. That was a no-doubter off the bat. All Grizzlies home runs brought to you by Trost Plastics, family-owned vinyl fencing specialist serving the St. Louis metro area since 1988. Hit it over the fence with Trost Plastics fence and deck specialists. That's now 3 home runs in the game for Gateway.
After going 0 for 4 last night with 2 strikeouts, something needed to change. He made those adjustments, and one big adjustment I'll tell you about soon.
Here's the first pitch to Willie Estrada, breaking ball inside, 1-0.
We were trying to figure out what kind of walk-up song to give to Kyle Goodell. The original couple Drake songs just weren't working for him. He kind of gives us free reign here in the press box to choose for him. He doesn't really care.
1-0 pitch slides inside there from Bonner. 2 balls and no strikes. Estrada 0 for 2 with a walk.
But it was a new one tonight, recommended by our scoreboard operator, Paul Falby. It is Blessings by Drake and Big Sean, and I think the song will be here to stay.
Ground ball up the third baseline, just foul off the bat of Estrada, now 2-1.
Music gets you moving. It definitely gets the ball moving off the bat of Kyle Goodell as well.
Kyle Goodell's got the music in him.
Estrada, another one to change his walk-up songs a few times this season.
Now the 2-1 pitch. There's a drive to deep left field. Matthews gives up right away. This ball sails out of here. Estrada goes back-to-back with Goodell. It's the 2nd time in this game the Grizzlies have gone back-to-back. A 9-2 advantage as La Movie takes the trot around the bases. Oh, those Grizzlies home runs, yeah, they're brought to you by Trost Plastics, family-owned vinyl fencing specialists serving the St. Louis metro area since 1988. Hit it over the fence with Trost Plastics fence and deck specialists. That gives Estrada 6 long balls on the year.
Definitely a no-doubter, a beautiful bat flip there. He watched that one sail over the wall.
Well, Gateway having themselves a time now, 4 home runs as a team. And a 7-run lead here in the 7th inning. First pitch to Alex Hernandez is outside. Skips to the backstop, 1-0. Hernandez has a couple hits tonight. 2 for 3 with the strikeout his last time up. Bonner kicks and deals. And that's outside again. 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, Hernandez only had 1 hit on this homestand coming into tonight. Already has doubled that tonight.
The 2-0 is grounded foul off the end of the bat there out in front. It's 2-1. Sumner in our Mixler chat says save some for the playoffs. Well, they didn't get any last night, so this is just the all the runs that were built up last night that didn't end up scoring. Pitch is outside, count 3 balls and a strike on Hernandez.
Kind of the retribution.
Well, Gateway's been playing long ball lately. 4 home runs in a game for the first time since August 13th. 3-1. There's a line drive into left. That gets down toward the line. That'll fall for a base hit. Played on the 1 hop off the wall by Matthews out there. Fires into second, but the throw is cut, and it's a double for Hernandez. Back-to-back homers, and now a double. And Hernandez with a 3-hit day. That ties his career high from earlier this year. He had 3 hits in a game August 5th at Washington.
And the ball is just flying off the bat, perhaps representative of these military jerseys, the Air Force jerseys. They're just sailing sky high.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder, indeed. For Gateway as well, that's now 7 extra base hits, 3 doubles, and 4 home runs. Their season high is 10, which they had in May against Ottawa. Also in this ballpark. Here's Cole Brannon. He'll look to keep the parade going. 1 for 3 in the contest. First pitch, down and in. Stopped by Pritchard near the ankles. It's 1-0. A 9-2 Grizzlies advantage. Still only 1 out. And 2 runs in on the back-to-back homers here in the bottom of the 7th. Bonner will step off, use a disengagement, and bluff a throw to second base kind of casually. No one even close to covering the bag. Right-hander comes set, and the 1-0. Also off speed, missing low, 2-0. Bonner has struggled this year against Gateway. That's a team that knows the strike zone, the Grizzlies, and Bonner, generally speaking, can be a little bit wild. He's been too wild the wrong way, wild in the zone, as in throwing the balls right down the middle in this inning. 2-0, there's a beautiful tailing pitch that catches the inside corner to the lefty, Brannon. And now it's 2-1. Bonner out of Murray, Utah, pitched with Evansville and Windy City last year. Didn't work out with the Otters in 4 games. He gave up a whole bunch of runs, 8.31 ERA in 4 1/3. As that pitch is outside, count is now 3 balls and a strike on Brannon. With Windy City, he had a decent strikeout to walk ratio, actually. That's why the Otters traded for him, but it obviously didn't go their way. It'll be a 3-1 to Brandon with the top of the order on deck. Hernandez leads off second. And that pitch hits the outside corner low at the knees. You can see the good stuff.
Yeah, definitely some cutting action outside on the lefty Brannon. That one worked low and in. in the zone, that I should say, and then kind of found its way towards the corner.
Payoff pitch is fouled back by Brannon. He stays alive. First game of this 3-game series tomorrow, the penultimate day of the regular season, 6:45 Central Time first pitch. It'll be Carson LaRue in his final regular season start, going up against Yasel Santana of Lake Erie. Pretty good pitching matchup there, two veterans. Here comes another 3-2 pitch. It misses outside. Brannon is aboard for free with a walk. After the leadoff ground ball to short from DJ Stewart, 4 straight Grizzlies have reached, and here's Mark Vierling. He's 0 for 4 in the leadoff spot, but does have a fielder's choice and a run scored as well as a stolen base. Fly out to right his last time up. And then on the greatest night in baseball, it will be Parker Johnson earning the starting nod. He'll be pitching against left-hander Yoniker Villalobos to finish off 2023 before the playoffs begin next week. There's a pitch with some cutting action on the inside corner to Vierling, righty on righty now. And 0-1 the count. 2 runs in this inning, 2 runs potentially on the bases as well with 1 away. A 9-2 Gateway lead here at Grizzlies Ballpark. Bonner deals the 0-1. Breaking ball socked the other way in a deep right. Backing up is Roa. This ball sails out of here. Off it goes into the wild blue yonder. A 3-run home run for Vierling over the short porch and right. And the Grizzlies have blown this thing wide open. It's 12-2. 3 home runs in the inning and 5 for the game.
I believe we talked about how Mark Vierling surpassed his brother Matt Vierling in the month of August for the amount of home runs that he has hit professionally, and now he's getting a good start to September right here.
Again, all Grizzlies home runs are brought to you by Trost Plastics, family-owned vinyl fencing specialists serving the St. Louis metro area since 1988. Hit it over the fence with Trost Plastics fence and deck specialists. Andrew Penner takes ball 1 down and away. A nightmarish inning for Braden Bonner. Coming in for the starter who got knocked around himself. A 5 spot in the bottom of the 7th. And a 10-run lead here at home for Gateway. There's a swing and a miss as Penner, who singled his last time up to extend his hit streak to 15 in a row, is even at 1-1. He's now 1 for 4 on the day. Now the 1-1 by Bonner. Off speed, hit in the air to center field, but jammed him a bit. Backing up, as the ball's carrying tonight, is Harris to make the catch. And there finally is the second out of the inning, breaking a streak of 5 straight batters that reached base safely on 3 home runs, a double, and a walk. Here is Peter Zimmerman, the 8th man to bat this inning. He is 1 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. Righty on righty, talk about home run power. This guy has it in spades, and trying to keep it low and away from the barrel is Bonner. He misses low that time with his changeup.
Yeah, he's no stranger to the big fly, and he might want to join the party here.
5 home runs in the contest for Gateway. I don't know the last time they had more than that. I'd have to look it up. There's a cutter just outside there. 2 balls and no strikes. "12 runs on 14 hits. This kind of feels like May. It's the last time the Grizzlies had this many extra base hits at home. There's a ground ball to shortstop. In is Watkins to field, and he throws a strike across the diamond to first to finally end the inning. Gateway explodes and builds themselves a double-digit lead thanks to 5 runs on 4 hits, 3 of those home runs. And they also leave nobody on base, no errors in the inning either. And we go to the top of the 8th, all Grizzlies on this Friday night at Grizzlies Ballpark, 12-2 on the Grizzlies Media Network. Top of the 8th inning, and now it's all Gateway as they score 5 times on 3 home runs in the bottom of the 7th to take a 12-2 lead over Lake Erie. Joey Gonzalez, the starter, exits after striking out 10 over 7 innings, a 2-run ball. Scattered 8 hits, most of them early in the game, and the 2 runs were earned. Just 1 walk and 1 hit batter as well for Gonzalez. He threw 109 pitches and 80 strikes, and he gives way to Zach Treese here in the top of the 8th. He'll face Roa, Watkins, and Irizarry. A right-handed hitter followed by 2 lefties. First pitch by the Sidewinder is in there for a called strike on the inside black to Roa. 0 for 3 in the contest with a strikeout his last time up. Tree steals. There's a wave and a miss on another cutter inside, and the count 0-2. Zach Treese with a 4.08 ERA, a 2-0 record. In 24 games, he's had a strong second half. 0-2 slider is down and away, and Roa able to recognize it and hold up. For Treese, the veteran from Hot Springs, Arkansas, 28 2/3 innings, 31 hits allowed. 18 runs, 13 earned, 7 walks, and 30 strikeouts. Crowd having themselves a grand old time here at the ballpark on a beautiful Friday night. Here's a 1-2. There's a half swing on the slider. Did he go? No, says Preston Childers. It's now 2-2. Also the free FloBaseball stream of the week, the game of the week. So the folks who don't have FloBaseball subscribed are tuned in to a Gateway slugfest of sorts as Roa swings and fouls one off to stay alive at 2-2. This is kind of how the games were here in this ballpark early this year for Gateway when they were just beating the tar out of everybody offensively. Treese is 2-2 again, and there's a cutter just low. Good pitch.
Now another thing with the roster in May, it looked a lot different than it does right now heading into the playoffs.
That's for sure. The second half has been anything but easy for Gateway. 3-2 pitch to Roa. Swing and a miss. He struck him out on a cutter upstairs. Zach Treese continues the Gateway Grizzlies strikeout dominance with his first of the night. And there's out number 1 here in the top of the 8th. All Grizzlies strikeouts brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Know what's below. Before you dig, always call Julie at 811 or go to IllinoisOneCall.com. 11 strikeouts as a staff tonight after tying their season high with 17 last night. Grizzlies discovering their punch-out poses as the pitch is just a bit high and inside on the lefty Watkins, who is 1 for 3 with a run scored. Tree steals. Hard ground ball, fair down the first base line past Freeman. It rolls into the Gateway bullpen where it disappears beneath the bench. Second baseman Andrew Penner holding up both his hands to say the ball was trapped, and Watkins goes to second with a double. So his second hit of the day, the all-star shortstop for Lake Erie. Brings up another left-handed hitter, Kenan Irizarry, who is also, just like Watkins, 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored in the 4th. If Treese has struggled against anybody this year, it's been left-handed batters. Righties, he's been dominating. Even in the first half when he was really struggling, he was still getting those righties out. As he'll deal with Irizarry. 12-2 Gateway here, top of the 8th. And the pitch at 1 just a bit high and outside, 1-0. Action actually in both bullpens now. There was action last inning for Gateway. Now there's action in Lake Erie's. There's a high fly ball into center field, but it should stay in the yard. Brannon goes back, and he'll make the catch about 10 feet shy of the track. Certainly deep enough to advance Watkins, though. Runner tags up at second, goes to third, and now there are 2 outs. And coming up is the righty Jackson Pritchard, as Treese will look to get out of the inning unscathed.
Pritchard has been hard to keep off base today. He's been aboard all 3 times tonight.
RBI single back in the 4th that got Lake Erie on the board. Also a hard hit single in the second and a walk drawn in the sixth. First pitch by Treese is the cutter once again, and in there for a called strike. Cutter slider combination for Treese, who deals from a slightly lower arm slot, is lethal. There's the slider, and that bends in for a called strike too, and it elicits a yelp from the crowd.
It's just so beautiful coming out of the hands of Treese. We've seen it all year. We've seen it really since spring training. You remember where we were kind of set up right behind the screen in those scrimmage games, and you could just watch it firsthand.
Here's an 0-2. Another slider. That one bends outside. 1-2. If I remember correctly, I knew about Treese before this season, and so I said, hey, watch this.
Yeah.
It'll be a 1-2 to Pritchard. Treese fires. A fastball down the middle. Strike three called. He was anticipating the off speed, and Treese freezes him to strike out 2 in the inning and throw up a scoreless shutdown frame in the top of the 8th. All Grizzlies strikeouts are brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Play it safe this season. Call Julie before you dig. Simply dial 811. It's smart, it's free, and it's the law. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 runner left at third base for Lake Erie. They've left 9 men on base tonight. And it's all Gateway, 12-2 as we go to the bottom of the 8th at Grizzlies Ballpark here on the Grizzlies Media Network. Starting second baseman Sam Frontino turns into a position player pitching as Gateway leads at 12-2, bottom of the 8th. It's going to be Freeman, Stewart, and Goodell due up against Frontino, with the starting second baseman going to the mound. Kennedy Irizarry goes from third base to second base, while Josh Rago moves across from first to third, and Scout Knotts comes in to the designated hitter spot in the order to play first. First pitch is a called strike to Freeman from Frontino. 0-1. A wave and a miss. Ball got off the glove of Pritchard. 0-2. Freeman is 2 for 3 with a double, 2 runs scored, an RBI, and a walk tonight. It's actually the 3rd time that the Grizzlies have seen Frontino in a pitching role. He's thrown 2 scoreless innings against them. 0-2 pitch is low. Count is 1-2. In fact, the lone win Lake Erie has over the Gateway Grizzlies this year in 6 previous games, it was awarded to Frontino. 1-2 fastball down in the turf. And 2-2 the count. I'm not sure if Frontino had pitched before in college. I would guess maybe sometime in his earlier baseball life, though. The 2-2 is fouled back by Freeman. He stays alive.
Pitching isn't hard to do, but it is hard to do well.
Yes.
Anybody can do it. Anybody can throw a ball down the middle.
And generally speaking, all these guys who are now in the pros, they were probably the best players in their area growing up, and they probably pitched. There's a breaking ball swung on and missed. Freeman down on strikes. Frontino picks up the K, and there's out number 1, bringing up Stewart, who is 2 for 4 with a double, a homer, and 4 RBIs tonight. Everybody getting in on the offense. Everybody's got a hit for Gateway. 5 home runs as well in total. Twice they've gone back-to-back. Goodell has a multi-homer game. As we have time called here, I believe, before the pitch. Frontino started his college career not too far from here, though. He's from Novelty, Ohio. As he winds and deals the first pitch to DJ. A fastball down the middle at the knees for a called strike. A little about 2 hours, actually, from here. John A. Logan College. Ground ball through the right side of the infield, past the lunge of Irizarry. It's another base hit for DJ. A triple away from the cycle tonight. He's 3 for 5. That'll bring up Mr. Goodell, who's got 2 home runs in the contest. The last Grizzly to hit 3 home runs is in the Frontier League Hall of Fame. But anyway, yeah, John A. Logan College in Carterville, Illinois. I actually used to stay there when I was the voice of the Southern Illinois Miners. Pitch is way outside, off the glove of Pritchard, and jogging down to second easily is DJ Stewart on a wild pitch by Frontino. Ball 1 to Goodell. They have an apartment complex that's under the umbrella of the school, Lake Logan Apartments, I used to stay at during the summer.
Any cool activities to do there?
Not really.
It is the Midwest. You find those small cities that are known for maybe one thing.
1-0 pitch is off speed and bending into the zone for a called strike there. Carbondale, Illinois was about 10 minutes away. 10-minute drive to the west. And that's where SIU is. 1-1 pitch. Off speed and giving it an offer was Goodell. Kind of half-heartedly there as he swings and misses for strike 2. Of course, in the summer months, there's no college in session, so it's kind of a sleepy area. The 1-2. This is outside with a fastball, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And by the way, the last Grizzly to hit 3 home runs in a game, Landon Hernandez. His image is plastered all over this place. 2-2 pitch is low. That gets by Pritchard. And down to third base will go DJ Stewart. That's a wild pitch as well. And now it's 3-2. Landon Hernandez did it July 30th, 2014 against Florence. That's the last Grizzly to hit 3 home runs in a single game. Also tying the league record in doing so. Nobody's ever hit 4. Kind of shocking when you consider the home run hitters in the Frontier League's past. No one ever hit 4 in a game. Breaking ball is swung on and missed. And Sam Frontino strikes Kyle Goodell out for out number 2 here in the 8th. Landon Hernandez can rest easy that no one will tie his record tonight. Willie Estrada also homered his last time up, going back-to-back with Goodell as he stands in. 1 for 3 with a walk as well. 12-2 Gateway as the fastball is up high from Frontino.
Trois-Rivières coming back. They won that game 8-7 over Tri-City. That's an interesting score there.
Well, they hung on there. There's a swing and a miss by Estrada, 1-1. Sumner says the first one who did it, hit 3 home runs in a game for Gateway, David Lara at the old ballpark, that being Sauget Field. There's a fastball down the middle and a called strike 2. Before this place was built in 2002, the Grizzlies played their first season here in Sauget, kind of at a renovated high school field. So thanks for the history lesson, Sumner. That's great. And then GMC Stadium, as it was known back then, opened in 2002. Second year the Grizzlies were here, they won the championship. And they have not won a playoff round since. Only making the postseason twice in 2007. Actually, I think they made it in one other year as well. But then 2012 was the last one, as there's a line drive to right field, but it's caught by Roa. Off the bat of Estrada, and that will end the inning. A scoreless inning in the books for Sam Frontino with 2 strikeouts. But the Crushers are down to their last 3 outs, top of the 9th next, with the Grizzlies up 12-2 in full command on the Grizzlies Media Network. Back after this. Treese is out of the game. Josh Lucas is in the game to finish off the ball game. Grizzlies up 12-2. Lucas on the season has a 2.93 ERA in 20 appearances with 4 saves, although this is decidedly not a save situation. 30 2/3 innings, 21 hits, 12 runs, 10 earned with 10 walks and 41 strikeouts. Batters hitting 191 off the ex-big leaguer. And he'll face Frontino, the pitcher, followed by Isaacs and Harris. Actually, he won't face Isaacs. It'll be Scout Knotts, who came in when the Crushers brought their pitcher to the mound. We thought Knotts was going to start and bat third and play first base. That was on the initial lineup card, but we were wrong. Lucas deals the first pitch to Frontino. He swings and fouls it off to the right. He's 0 for 3 at the plate tonight with 2 strikeouts. That's what happens when you bring a position player to the mound. You lose your DH. That new position player / pitcher will bat for himself. Ground ball foul on the cutter by Frontino. He's behind at 0-2. Righty versus righty matchup. All Gateway tonight, 12-2. 5 home runs among their 15 hits, 7 for extra bases in total as the fastball's up and in, 1-2. Elsewhere around the league, we've got a doubleheader split between New York and New Jersey. Big win for New York, 4-1 in Game 1. Quebec holds on for an 8-6 win over Ottawa. That's a really big result for them as well. 1-2 pitch served out to second, where it's caught by Penner below the waist, and there's out number 1. Back to the top of the order, and here is Scout Knotts for his first at-bat of the day. Knotts hitting .326, 2 homers and 13 RBIs. Meanwhile, Tri-City loses to Trois-Rivières, and Sussex County has beaten the Grays 2-1. So everything going wrong for Tri-City today. Can't afford too much more of that, although they'll be missing out on the playoffs as the pitch is in there for a called strike 1 on Knotts, the tall right-handed hitter. Kind of bends over slightly to take away some of that height, but he stands 6'6", 230. There's a fastball inside near the letters that kind of looked like a limbo stick, with Knotts bending backward away from it, 1-1. We'll give you a full update on the playoff picture when we hit the postgame show. Evansville's going to beat Schaumburg tonight. They're up 9-1 as there's a swing and a miss on a pitch cutting away from Knotts. And it's 1-2.
Lucas wants to work him off the plate a little bit, especially like you mentioned with that crouch stance. Try and get him to go away here. Perhaps on the outside corner.
Lucas gets his sign. And the 1-2. Fastball, it came back inside actually, and Knotts could only fight it off. Everything already sewn up in the West, of course. Gateway are the division champions. They will have the luxury of not having to play on Tuesday in the wild card game. It'll be Evansville at Schaumburg. for the right to play the Grizzlies in the Division Series best of 3 beginning on next Thursday. There's a fastball upstairs by Lucas, 2-2 on Knotts. Grizzlies will open up that series on the road Thursday night and then have home games on Saturday night at 7:05 and then Sunday at 7:05 as well if necessary. 2-2 pitch, cutter down and away, swung over and missed. Good night, Scout Knotts, says Josh Lucas. A strikeout for out number 2. And all Grizzlies strikeouts brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Safe digging is no accident. Before you dig, call 811 or go to IllinoisOneCall.com. That's Illinois, the number 1call.com. Lake Erie down to their final out, and it's a pinch hitter, Sean Cheely, who will take the at-bats. A switch hitter who will bat left-handed. Cheely batting .223, 2 homers and 22 RBIs. Jared Lemieux just dipping into his bench a bit. First pitch by Lucas is the backdoor cutter, and just around the plate outside there, 1-0. Base is empty, 2 out, top of the 9th, 12-2 Gateway. There's a swing and a miss as Cheely's out in front of another Lucas cutter. 1-1. The 1-1 pitch, another cutter, swung over and missed, count 1-2. Lake Erie down to their final strike tonight. A trio of really big innings for Gateway is all they've needed so far. 4 runs in the 3rd, 3 in the 5th, and 5 in the 7th. The 1-2. Up and away with a fastball, 2-2. Lucas, who came up with the Cardinals, comes set. Below his belt and the 2-2. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. There's your ball game. Grizzlies win. Well, after being shut out here at home for the first time in a long time, last night, the Grizzlies bounced back by hitting 5 home runs, getting 10 strikeouts in 7 innings, a 2-run ball from Joey Gonzalez, and walloping Lake Erie 12-2. And for the Gateway Grizzlies, their 58th win on the year. They're back to 22 games over 500 at 58-36. Lake Erie will fall to 36-58. A grand time here in Sauget tonight. We'll wrap it up on the postgame after these words here on the Grizzlies Media Network. Wrapping things up here on a Friday night, the Gateway Grizzlies bulldoze the Lake Erie Crushers with a lot of home runs, a lot of big innings, and a lot of strikeouts from the starting pitcher, Joey Gonzalez, as well. 12-2 the final score. And we will pick things up with the bottom of the third because the game was scoreless before that. Jason Garrett, Joey Miller back with you here at Grizzlies Ballpark. And then Gateway, with 2 outs, turned on the offense switch. They got the first run thanks to an error by Jackson Pritchard, the former Grizzly, on a stolen base by Mark Vierling at second. But then after that, Peter Zimmerman walked, Clint Freeman doubled, and DJ Stewart doubled in 2 more. And all of a sudden it was 4-0. And despite 2 runs coming back for Lake Erie in the top of the 4th, Joey Gonzalez kind of shut off the faucet of base runners from there on out as he really got into a strikeout groove.
Yeah, and it was an early run support for Joey Gonzalez as he had hoped, but the team did what it could to help get him out of that, get him more comfortable, rather, and pace himself through the 7 innings that he pitched. He pitched a dominant performance with a lot of strikeouts, 10 on the night. But the Grizzlies, the big fly was the story of the night, and they were just all over this pitching staff once they figured it out a little on further in the game.
Yeah, the Grizzlies scored 4 runs in the third without the aid of a home run. The remaining 8 runs they scored in this game were all on the long ball, with 5 home runs in total. DJ Stewart with a 2-run shot, Kyle Goodell a solo shot back-to-back in the 5th. That made it a 7-2 ball game, and then against Braden Bonner, Goodell would go yard again with a solo shot to make it a 8-2 game. And Willie Estrada followed with a solo shot that made it 9-2. 2 batters later, Mark Vierling with a 3-run home run over the short porch and right, and that made it the final 12-2 score. And now on the other side again, Joey Gonzalez, 10 strikeouts. That is a career-high tying performance in 7 innings, a 2-run ball. The way this ball game started with Lake Erie getting a whole bunch of base runners, it was looking like it might be another struggle for Gonzalez, but he found that strikeout groove. 10 strikeouts, just 1 walk tonight. That was the biggest key coming in. We said he had to limit the walks, which he had really struggled with in his last 4 starts. He certainly did that. Also hit a batter, another free base allowed, but just 2 free bases, 10 strikeouts, and the 8 hits were scattered. They were kind of bunched up in the 4th to score the 2 runs, but a terrific performance for Gonzalez, one that the Grizzlies really like to see from him going into a potential playoff start in the division series next week. Final line scores for you from this Friday night. For Gateway, 12 runs on 15 hits, almost half of them for extra bases in total, with no errors defensively as well, and 7 runners left on base. For Lake Erie, 2 runs on 9 hits with 1 error and 9 runners left on base. The win to Joey Gonzalez. He is now the team leader in wins, and he will stay that way at the end of the regular season with an 11-7 overall record. The loss goes to the former Grizzly Matt Mulhern. He falls to 5-7. Time of the game, 2 hours and 34 minutes in front of 1,881 here in Sauget. A great crowd in the house for Military Appreciation Night. They are currently being distributed, the jerseys off the backs of the players that they bid on here in the auction. And so that'll just about do it for us. Here's a final look at the out-of-town scoreboard for you. And we'll update you on the playoff picture as well. For the New York Boulders, they split a doubleheader from New Jersey. 3-2, they lost to the Jackals in the first game, resuming from a suspension on July 17th. But they win in 7 innings in Game 2, 4-1. Quebec has won as well, bouncing back from their forfeit last night. 8-6, the final score. They beat Ottawa. Sussex County also a winner, 2-1 over the Grays. Everything going against Tri-City tonight in every way, shape, and form. The Valley Cats fall 1 run short against Trois-Rivières on the road, 8-7. Also a final score from the West Division. Washington 7-0 winners over Windy City as they close out their season. Joliet has beaten Florence as well, 3-2. And they're in the bottom of the 9th, still active on the live stats, but probably about to go final. Evansville 9-1. They lead Schaumburg, looking for a victory in the preview of the wild card game tonight. But here are the updated standings. With all of the results out east, New Jersey and Quebec are now tied with each other once again for first place in the division. New York is the 3 seed if the season ended today, as they are 4.5 games back of the Capitals and Jackals, but they are now 1/2 game ahead of Sussex County and Tri-City, who are tied with each other for